Welcome to episode 1. We don't really have a name for this podcast at this point, and my co-host has no idea that this is episode 1. We were kind of just throwing this idea up in the air, and so I figured I'd just start it, and I'm going to get him on the phone. I guess we're just going to jump right into it, I suppose, huh? All right. So, let's see. All right. Here we go. What's up, brother? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What you got going on?
Man, just started my fog mission.
Nice. How's the mosquito patrol so far tonight?
Well, it's actually might not be too long because it's raining. I haven't gotten to my destination yet, but it's only right around the corner, and it's raining.
Yeah, so how does that work, man? They let you get on the helicopter yet, or what? Do flyovers?
Yeah, no, I've been on the helicopter.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty dope, dude. I actually got to be on the helicopter while we were doing treatments, which was fucking, bro. It's basically it's a fucking roller coaster, is what it is. Because, dude, what he does when he does treatments, he actually has to get as close to the ground as possible. So, like, imagine a pond, okay? Just envision this. Imagine a pond. So when he goes in for the treatment, he literally flies at the pond, and then at the last second, literally takes a fucking swanton nosedive to the ground. And then right as, obviously we don't get, he's staying within 100 feet of the ground, but 100 feet to the ground while you're in a fucking helicopter seems like you're going to die.
Yeah,
so like
so
literally
close.
right before he's about 100 feet from the ground, he pulls up, and then he turns on the hopper, which starts dropping the product. And then he does like a nice 60-mile-an-hour hover over the water. And then as the pond ends and the tree line comes up, he fucking pulls the nose straight up into the air. And then basically you're pointing straight up in the air, bro. And you're like, oh, fuck. And then the motherfucker just whips a 180 like a fucking like some shit you would do on a surfboard, bro. Like a 180, spins it around and then nosedives it back towards the pond again, and then he just does that over and over and over again until it's done.
So is there a specific reason why he does this like nosedive, or is it just because you were there?
Yeah, they're called AgNav turns, and the reason why is because the higher the house dispense the product, probably like in a 50-foot, 75-foot swath on around the helicopter. So the higher you are, the further that swath becomes, and the harder it is to control where the product is actually being dropped. So
Yeah,
in order to make sure, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm starting to see why they do it, but I got a question, man, because like I was sitting there one day, out in the woods hanging out, and I got sprayed on. I didn't even realize, because it was middle of the day, it wasn't about to start raining. I didn't even realize what it was until I saw the helicopter overhead, and I'm like, oh my god, I just got doused in mosquito stuff.
Was it?
How do you know?
Was it like a? So was it a dry granule, or was it like liquid?
No, it was liquid.
Huh. It might not have been us, because we don't, as far as I know, we haven't used liquid in a long time. We only use, the product that we use is like it's basically like cat litter.
Okay. Yeah, this was some years ago. So maybe that's what it was. But I was wondering what kind of tests do they do? Like, do you know what kind of tests they do to make sure it's not going to, like, all the fog you're spraying in the air for the mosquitoes isn't going to, like, I'm sure they probably did thorough tests, but
yeah,
what do you know about it?
So it's one of those things where it's actually incredibly studied, bro. So our products are general insecticides, and obviously use any product for too long, it could have an adverse effect. But Hold on, I'm actually trying to get this motor going real fast. There we go.
Yeah, and I'm sure probably. Is it true that over time the mosquitoes maybe have like developed like a immunity to it or anything?
Yeah, resistance. But here's the thing: is that all that shit is actually figured out. So we actually the way that we do it is, so first of all, going back to the products, our products are general insect. Not all, only the only product that is a general insecticide is the actual fog itself. All of the rest of our products are specifically mosquito larvicide. So it's actually really cool. So for example, one of the products that we use is a natural bacteria that grows in the soil, and it is the scientists have found a way to concentrate the bacteria, and basically the bacteria, for whatever reason, specifically kills mosquitoes. So that's actually really badass. So like when we use that product, it doesn't harm anything else, man. Like I can throw it in a lake and come back to it, a week later, and there's still fish and all sorts of shit. Not only is there fish, but there's still other insects. Like I'll find an abundance of life, bro. Like little teeny, I'll find crawdads, I'll find little fucking dragonfly larvae, you name it, bro. Everything's still in there. The only thing that kills are mosquitoes.
Wow,
which is really fucking badass.
That's incredible.
They call it species specific. It's like it literally, scientists never really understood why it only affects the mosquito, but for whatever reason, it only affects the mosquito. And then another product that we use is a literal growth hormone that the mosquito the larvae creates in its larval stage. And so when the mosquito's body stops producing the hormone, that's when the mosquito knows to molt into an adult, and it sheds its skin and turns into the adult and grows wings and flies. So once again, scientists found a way to synthesize that growth hormone. And when we spray that in a lake, what it does is it floods the lake or the environment with that growth hormone, tricking the mosquitoes to never grow up into adults, bro.
Wow, that's
incredible.
Wow.
How nuts is that, bro? That's fucking crazy, dude.
That's insane.
And then, yeah, so, and it's really cool, man. The growth, so it's kind of fucked up, but the bacteria that grows in the soil, what that does is it fucking ruptures the gut of the mosquito larvae or whatever. And it's actually pretty cool. The way they found it out was because whenever I was taking my whenever I was studying for all my licensing and whatnot, I had to, holy shit, bro, I just seen a lightning spider web in the sky. That was fucking dope. Whenever I was taking it, we had to study all this stuff, general knowledge. And so at some point in history, a scientist was doing a study on the environment around a brewery, and I think it was in like Brazil or some shit. And basically the guy noticed that for whatever reason, despite the brewery being in an area that was basically surrounded by swamp marsh, for whatever reason the swamp marsh never grew mosquitoes. And so the guy was studying, trying to understand why it was that the mosquitoes wouldn't breed in the in the water. And they found out that it was because of a natural bacteria that grows from fermented soil. And because it was in a the brewery, all the yeast and all that stuff was making the soil's fermentation through the roofs.
Wow.
So that's how they found that. So they were like, oh shit, it's just a natural occurring bacteria in the soil. Holy shit. So dude, they were able to.
Why is science so cool, bro? Why is science so cool? Like, that there was some guy, like he probably didn't really discover anything. And he's like, his wife's probably giving him a hard time. Like, why are you studying, like mosquito? Or, you know what I mean? And then he finally was like, you know what? He's like in the middle of Brazil in some jungle for whatever reason, a brewery's in a jungle.
So
But
that one was an accident. That guy actually was not studying mosquitoes, more so of just accidentally. He was studying the environment. Like, he was actually kind of trying to determine whether the brewery around the swamp was good for the environment or not, and found out, so in the process of studying the wildlife, he was like, everything seems to be good. All the wildlife is still good, except for I haven't seen any mosquitoes, which is unusual because in these scenarios, there should be a lot of mosquitoes.
Yeah, they were probably.
So that was kind of what put it on the radar.
They were trying to like look for any reason to shut down this brewery. They're like, look, we need as much dirt as we can on this. And he comes back and it's actually they're doing revolutionary things to the environment.
Yeah, despite other than a couple of alcohol dependent bugs.
Yeah. So how many mosquitoes?
Like all the dragonflies.
How many mosquitoes are we up to right now? Like what's the number on this?
What do you mean, what's the number?
Like different types of mosquitoes, like breeds.
Okay, so there's over 12 throughout the world. There's over 1,200 different species of mosquitoes.
That's crazy.
And there is, and we have about 40 different mosquitoes, different species. And there's about 90.
So I got a question.
It's actually pretty crazy, bro.
Which one's the one with the weird long legs that just kind of dangle? The useless mosquito that probably never bit anybody before, like the really daddy long legs.
So that, yeah. So that's actually not even a mosquito. That's actually a species of crane fly.
Oh, dude, I had no idea.
Yeah, those things look like huge ass fucking mosquitoes. They're actually a crane fly, and it's actually really cool because crane flies are actually really good for the environment, because when they are in their larva stage, they're just like a mosquito as far as their life cycle. The crane fly lays their eggs in the water, and then it hatches and it lives the first stage of its life in the water, and then hatches or molts into an adult, and then grows wings and flies. So while it's in its larval stage in the water, it's actually a predaceous species and will eat mosquito larvae.
That's crazy.
So it's actually really good. Like when we see the crane fly larvae, it's actually like really good because it's like, oh fuck yeah, eat them up.
Dude, imagine if that's like how babies were. Like if babies were carnivores and just ate other babies, and you had to like be careful about bringing your baby places because it just eat other babies.
Oh, bro, that would be fucking crazy. Yeah. Hey, no, you got an Italian baby, bro. I can't. Your Italian babies eat other babies.
Yeah, we yeah. If it was like,
if it was only specific species of
humans, of babies, only specific species of babies.
You want to hear something crazy, bro? So each mosquito, actually, first off and foremost, mosquitoes, only the female bites the human and draws blood. And the reason why is because, unlike the mammal, who has a complete reproduction system, the mosquito doesn't have a complete reproduction system, and they have to drink blood so they can extract the protein from the blood to be able to create the eggs for their babies.
No way. So mosquitoes get the eggs from blood.
They get the actual eggshell itself from they create the eggshell itself from the blood. Yeah, from the protein in our blood. They don't even eat it. Actually, all mosquitoes, including females, they eat regular nectar from flower, just like regular moths and butterflies and shit.
No way. So the only reason why it needs blood is because it doesn't have a reproduction system. Why are we trying to like spend so much time and effort? Why don't we like figure out a way to be able to get them a reproduction system? Like I feel like if we could just get them a reproduction system, they wouldn't need to like drink everyone's blood.
So check this out. That's actually one of the few projects that I know about that they're doing right now. So there's a laboratory, I think it's in Harvard, one of those huge colleges. So what they're doing is there's actually a species of mosquito called the Toxorynchides, all right? That when it's in the larval stage, just like the crane fly, when it's a larval stage, it's predaceous and it hunts other insects smaller than it and eats them. So when by the time the Toxorynchides becomes an adult, it no longer needs to seek out the blood for its eggs. It has already acquired enough blood to be able to make its eggs. So the Toxorynchides mosquito never bites humans.
Wow.
So basically what scientists are trying to do is they're trying to find a way to breed mosquito larvae with the Toxorynchides larvae to make it predaceous in their larva stage, hoping that they can basically create a new chain reaction, which all larvae would become predaceous and stop the need for mosquitoes to even bite humans in the first place.
So it's essentially not genetically modifying anything. It's basically kind of just like figuring out a way of being able
the
to...
way they're genetically modifying it is because the Toxorynchides will never mate with another species. Like they'll never outer species mate. So basically they're trying to take other species and artificially inseminate them with Toxorynchides genetics to see if it will work. And supposedly in a controlled environment, it does work. Like, in a laboratory setting, they can get it to work.
They're like, look, as long as you put these larvae together, these mosquitoes together with some material, some sexual mosquito material, they'll fuck. They'll get down. But you just won't happen in the environment.
Put a little wine in the water.
Yeah, they'll get down.
Put a little wine in the water and get a good movie going.
Yeah, some Barry Manilow. They'll get down. But you just gotta set the mood. That's insane.
What if that was a trick? What? Wine and Barry Manilow.
Yeah, that's all it takes for mosquitoes to interspecies breed. That's insane. Is it interspecies breeding? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, interspecies or outer species. Like basically, outer species, okay. Dogs are interspecies breeding. They won't breed with other animals, but they'll breed. A fucking lab will breed with a pit bull and so on and so forth. But mosquitoes are not like that. They will only breed, like Toxorynchides will only breed with another Toxorynchides and so on. So they're very racist and discriminate.
Very, very racist insects. I didn't know that. Wait, so hold on. So if they did that, then it would come down to all of the larvae. The only thing that would survive would be this like predatory larva, which happens to be the same larva that already gets its... How does it get its blood from the larva stage, though?
So it gets the protein that it needs to build the eggs from eating the other insects while it's in its larva form.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. That's insane.
Because your typical mosquito is a filter feeder when they're in the larva form. They're basically, it's a vegetarian for the most part. It only eats bacteria and algae and stuff like that. So water passes through, just like plankton or krill, the water passes through the mosquito's body almost as if the mosquito larva was transparent. And as the water's passing through its body, it's, filtering out bacteria and algae and all that good stuff that's floating around in the water. And so it's basically a little vegan or vegetarian bitch. and the Toxorynchides are like fucking steak, meat eaters and shit. They're coming out. Oh man, I'm full already. I don't even need to worry about,
Total.
It's kind of cool.
Meat diet.
Yeah, because it's honestly kind of sad because if you think about it, man, when it comes down to it, the only reason why mosquitoes bite us is because they have to provide that protein for their babies. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, the babies won't be born.
It's kind of a really, it's a noble quest, to be honest with you. Like, what if that was the only way?
It's a mama doing her thing. Like the male mosquitoes will never bite a human, bro. They're born as soon as they hatch. Like literally, it's actually really fucked, bro. But as soon as they hatch, the male mosquito hatches first, always. So the male mosquito hatches and literally doesn't leave the edge of the water where it's born. What it does is it sits there and waits for the females to be born. And as soon as the females hatch and are out of their water, as soon as they hatch wings and start flying around, the male mosquito then fucking goes and smashes, gets the chick pregnant, and then it's up to the chick. She's now pregnant, and it's up to the chick to find a blood meal before her eggs die. Because basically, if she doesn't find the protein, she has like a timer. As soon as she has sex and mates and becomes pregnant, there's a timer, and if she doesn't get that blood meal within a certain amount of time of being pregnant, naturally the babies will die.
Yeah,
so that's why they're also so aggressive, is because like they have to. It's basically like it's like imagine a woman being pregnant, right? You have 9 months. You have 9 months to pop, but it's like, oh, by the way, you have to kill somebody and drink their blood, otherwise the baby inside you will die. It's like, that mama's gonna do what she can to fucking get that baby out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be pro-life at this point and kill mosquitoes. Like I'll never be able, because it's like, now, save the children. It's like, what about the kids? But it's
he's just trying to help, man.
It's just a mom trying to feed her kids. Yeah, that's insane, man. I honestly, dude, I didn't know there was so much to know about mosquitoes, to be honest with you, until right now.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty, man.
Yeah.
It's honestly insane how much there is to it.
Yeah, that is pretty insane, buddy. So what's the plan? Yeah. Is it raining? Were you able to make it to your next post or what?
Yeah, no, I've been fogging this whole time since we've been talking. It's raining, but basically the rule of thumb is as long as because I'm only traveling 15 miles an hour, I'm just like, basically creep cruising the neighborhood that I'm in. And as long as I don't have to have the windshield wipers on consistently, I can keep fogging.
So I'm really, all right, and that's another question, man. I'm really putting your feet to the fire here, and really, you're really like you're really the representative for the entire mosquito control.
I'm actually one of the educators at our facility. So whenever we have like presentations or set up a booth or something at a convention or something like that, I'm one of the guys that will sit there and educate people.
So how does this work then, man? So we got the fog, or we got the pellets or whatever else, and it's actually just the larva, or I'm sorry, like the what would you say it was, a protein that you actually put in the water? And
it's a bacteria.
A bacteria.
You're talking about the growth hormone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got the protein, whatever it is that you put in the water. You said it's basically bacteria, and then we got the proteins and this. What about the fog? Because that can't be healthy breathing that in. You know what I mean? I'm playing devil's advocate here.
So the fog is a chemical called methoprene, and basically methoprene is a general insecticide. So it's one of the only chemicals that we use that will kill anything.
Okay. But it's probably how does that work breathing it in though? I mean, probably every once in a while it's probably, you don't want to breathe it directly in or huff it, you know what I mean? But how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, so when we're fogging, like right now I'm in a truck, so I'm not breathing it in. But whenever we're doing it on our four-wheeler, we have a gas mask that we wear.
Yeah, and whenever you're out, you're like, oh man, you see the fog, and people are like, no, it's okay, it's all right. I'm guessing because
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, you're breaking up, bro.
Oh no, what about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, cool. Yeah, so it probably dissipates pretty quickly, but because I was gonna say, if it kills, that was always my thought is if it kills a bug, or it'll kill a rat, it'll probably kill a human with enough. Or at least cause some sort of damage with enough.
So it's only in a it's an insecticide, and I can't remember the exact science behind it, but the reason why it doesn't if it affects humans, it's gonna be more on a cancerous level than like toxic level, because basically what it does is once again it has to do with science and anatomy, but basically all insects have exoskeletons, and it's something about a mammal having the skin, and there's a difference between mammals and creatures that have skin and whatnot, including fish. Pretty much the only species that this affects is insects. And the reason why is because any creature with an exoskeleton, which all insects have exoskeletons, any creature with an exoskeleton has their body absorbs, or their nerve system uses some sort of sodium mechanism to relay the nerve receptors, the signal that the nerve receptors send to its brain. So basically the methoprene blocks the sodium channel, preventing, basically sending the insect's nervous system into fucking chaos. So it's honestly I would assume it's a very excruciating way to die, unfortunately. But basically, whenever an insect gets hit with methoprene, the way they show it is like on a picture. Like imagine a picture of a mosquito. So whenever your body feels anything, it sends like a nice slow pulsing, what do you call it? Like a nice pulsing effect to the brain. So when it's like a slow, like poof, woof.
So it could either be like the most excruciating thing in the world, or it could just be or it could just be like a really good Saturday night that just didn't.
No, because what happens is when the insect gets hit with methoprene, it basically makes all of their nerve receptors fire off and on rapidly. So it would be like the way scientists envision it. It would be like you know how like all nerve receptors have the ability to send the most pleasurable feeling to your brain or the most excruciating pain to your brain.
Wow.
So
okay,
basically,
yeah.
what methoprene does is it turns the nerve receptors on and off very rapidly. It looks like a Christmas lights flashing, like a strobe effect. Instead of a nice slow pulsing motion, it's like a, and basically the fucking the insect convulses to death.
Wow,
it really
crazy.
It really experiences excruciating pain until it stresses itself out to death, and it literally dies of pain. Like,
so hold on,
literally dying from pain.
What about the other? All right, now off the human concerns here. What about other insects? Does other exoskeleton insects, does it kill them off, and what's the implications for that?
Yes, it does. So unfortunately, the fog will kill like any insect. So if I'm fogging and I'm fogging down a trail and there's like spider webs and shit hanging off, if a big enough concentrated cloud hits the spider, it will kill the spider. It will kill anything that it touches. But that's why we try to
exoskeletons, though. I thought you said it's not anything with skin.
Yeah, all insects, including spiders, dragonflies. If it's in the animal kingdom of insect, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, if it's in the animal kingdom of insect, it has an exoskeleton. Methoprene will kill it.
Okay, gotcha. Spiders have an exoskeleton.
Yeah, they do. They don't have flesh. They have an exoskeleton. But here's a cool thing. So we actually have scientists have created a technology called ULV, which stands for ultra low volume spray. And basically what it does is we mix the active ingredient methoprene in with water, and then it hits a wind turbine, and it's moving so fast that it actually turns the water molecule into a vapor. So then and then you know how like scientists can measure the micron meter of a water molecule?
Yeah.
So basically scientists have discovered a way to make the water molecule so small that it specifically targets insects with very small appendages. So mosquitoes, houseflies, and stuff like that. Like, so a spider, like I said, so if a mosquito even gets hit with one drop of this stuff, it's dead. But a spider has to get hit with a shitload of it to die. And a dragonfly and a bumblebee and all that stuff, they actually have to get hit with like a good concentrated amount for it to actually kill them.
Okay. And now when
'Cause
you,
there's-
yeah, okay,
Yeah, so it's actually pretty cool.
So it's specifically
It's
kind
actually
of
pretty cool.
Yeah, because like
Well, yeah, like I said,
bigger,
man.
if it was bigger molecules, then that would mean that there's more likely of a chance that other insects would
Yeah,
ingest more of it.
exactly.
Because, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So it's
But
basically, so
and
what
this
you
is
mean by
another
the
thing. Cool.
micro? I was gonna say what you mean by the microns. It's basically just a really fine mist. It's like the most fine mist, basically.
Yeah.
Is what you mean.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And something else that's cool is that the methoprene itself, the ingredient methoprene, and just to give you a hint on, or give you an idea of how safe it is for humans, methoprene is the same ingredient that we have in this fog that I'm using right now, is the same active ingredient that's in over-the-counter lice shampoo that you could buy at Walmart. So, if you were to have a lice infestation in your hair and you went to Walmart or Walgreens and bought lice shampoo, the same chemical that's in that shampoo is the same chemical that we're spraying. So,
right, so
technically, you know what I'm saying? And it's actually crazy. If you were to, because of the ULV technology, the ultra low volume, if you were to use a dose of lice shampoo, can you hear me?
Yeah. If you were to use a dose of lice shampoo,
no.
What'd you say?
Yeah, if you were to use lice shampoo as prescribed, like if you were to read the label, put a squirt a dime-sized dollop in your hand and then scrub thoroughly. So according to the label, the amount of methoprene that you're getting in one application of lice shampoo is the equivalent to standing in our fog for about 5 minutes.
Oh, no way.
Like, so if you were to just stand there, like if we had the fog motor running and you were just sitting there getting hit by it, you would have to sit there for like 5 minutes in order to ingest the same amount of methoprene that you would ingest with one application of lice shampoo.
So with that math right there, basically, if I were to boil lice shampoo and huff the fumes, then that's basically like sitting in your fog machine
possibly
for like 20 minutes, basically.
well, possibly, but I don't know. Boiling it might kill the active ingredient. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, you know what? You talked me out of it. You talked me out of it, bro. I changed my mind.
Yeah.
you talked me off the ledge. You talked me off the ledge.
No, you know what I'm saying? It's probably, like I said, it's still probably, like, that's why we use gas masks and stuff, because it's probably, like, if you read the lice shampoo bottle, it probably recommends only using a small amount, not very often. Like, you wouldn't want to replace your fucking, your Suave shampoo for a bottle of lice shampoo, you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't necessarily trust that stuff anyway. I'm you know me, man. I'm old fashioned when it comes down to it. My parents just made me shave my head, and same thing like with
it's not a big problem. It's not a big problem. I've literally been fortunate, man. I've never had lice, so I've always had short hair when I was in school, so I never got it. So I got lucky on that aspect.
Yeah, no. When I was a kid, I had the Jonathan Taylor Thomas bowl cut when I was a kid, and that was the only haircut I had until I got lice, and then that was like a traumatizing moment when I had to shave it off, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even. It was like the first moment when you don't recognize yourself. You're like, what is going on? I was such like a kid. I was like bawling my eyes out. I didn't understand what was going on. Yeah.
That's fine.
What's up, man? Has your kid gotten lice or anything, or you had to deal with any of that yet, or what?
No. Well, we keep his head super short.
Yeah, just Chevy, just the old Chevy dog, just the old dog. He's the only one with the bugs. He's got the fleas. He's like, hey, yeah, Chevy was listening right now.
Yeah, poor Chevy boy ain't doing too hot, bro. I don't know how much longer we got with him, man. Honestly.
If he was listening right now, he'd be like, good for you guys. Yeah, I can hear you. If he was listening right now, he'd be like, good for you guys. You don't have
can hear me?
lice. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
And that's. I'm not. No. Oh my gosh, did I just spill that for real? Okay, no. So I thought I just spilled my dinner, dude. Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Right,
I can hear you.
I think now it's
No,
probably...
but I was saying, bro.
Go ahead.
What were you saying?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna straight up tell you, man. Honestly, bro. Speaking of Chevy, be real with you, man. I don't know how much longer we got with Chevy, man. He's not doing too good.
Yeah, he's an old dog now, man. He's like damn near 20 years old. I don't even think I swear he had to have been 5 when we got him when we were living together. I don't think they really knew how old he was. They said he was 8 months, but there's no way that dog was 8 months. He was like a grown man when we got him.
I always heard. I remember Brandy telling me he was 2.
Was it 2? I could have swore she told me 8 months. I could have swore she told me he was like a year
Dude,
old.
hell no, bro. He was not a puppy, bro. He was not a puppy by any standard.
No, he's the only dog that I've ever known that could eat an entire tour of Italy from Olive Garden in one bite without chewing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Chev.
It's insane. The dog can eat anything except pickles. I've never seen that before. Except he doesn't eat vegetables and stuff, though, does he? Yeah, he eats vegetables. Actually, he's pretty good with that. He'll eat anything that doesn't what do you call it? Like the only things he won't eat is if it's like so slippery that he can't chew it, like pickles and shit like that. His teeth, his poor teeth, he's got such an underbite that he just can't chew it, so he spits it out. Yeah, it's like a sick joke. It's like a sick, terrible joke. He's like, what is this slipperiness you're getting here? Yeah, it's like I can only imagine it's like trying to eat like us eating like a paper bag, you know what I'm saying? No matter how many times you chew it, it just never stops. It's like, all right, Chevy, you're at that age now where it's going to be a full diet of cucumbers now. We're switching over to a cucumber diet. But yeah, bro, because I was talking and I feel like it cut out a minute ago. But bro, honestly, I would be pretty impressed if he makes it through the year, all the way to the new year. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk like, down on him or whatever, but it's unfortunately. Oh my God, I did it again. Yo, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you fine. Yo, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. All right, cool. Yeah, Yo. Man. It might end up coming down. You might have to. Man, I hope it does. I mean, it's gonna end up coming to that point because Chevy, that old dog, man, he's a fighter. He's not gonna want to go out. So I'm hoping that it's not gonna be. I'm hoping that one of us isn't gonna have to like put him down or something like ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Well, I know I know I'm gonna have to, man. Well, the reason why is because like, and I got this way with Yoshi. You know what I'm saying? It's honestly, it's a gift and a curse, man. But pain, misery. You're sitting there watching an animal. It's a quality of life thing. You know what I'm saying? For Chev, he's still doing okay. Like, I bet if I had to ask him, like, hey, Chev, do you want to live? He'd be like, oh, hell yeah. But when he gets to the point where I feel like he's going to say, please just put me out of my misery, when he can't walk anymore and he can't get up and he's just pissing and shitting his bed and stuff like that. That's at that point, like, I don't think as an animal or as a living unit, I don't think he would want to keep living at that point. It's like, no, dude, fucking, I can't even get up and take a shit anymore. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, unless he would rather live, and we have no idea, and we're like, all right, come on, old shit. He's like, pasture. He's like, no, please, please, no. He's like, fuck no, just wipe my ass, dude. What are you talking about? He's like, no, you're not enjoying yourself. He's like, no, please, God. He like learns how to speak all of a sudden. He's like, look. Man, he's broke. I felt that was really funny. I feel like that was really funny, but I couldn't hear a word you just said right there. No, it's all right, man. I hope it never comes to that. Yo, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? No, nothing? Nah, I can't hear you, man. I can hear you, but you're like staticky. I can't actually understand what you're saying. Is it like robot style? What about now? Is that better? Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine, man. I can honestly hear you perfect. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, man.
I can hear you now. I don't know if it's your headphone or reception, bro. Like, I don't know if it's when you're all of a sudden you're like, can you hear me? And you'll come in crystal clear.
Is it I don't know. I just kind of moved a little bit. Is that a little bit better?
Yeah, like it's crystal clear right now. Whatever you're doing right now, keep it like that if you could. Not telling you what to do, but it's like,
no, dude, I'm honestly actually talking to you on the computer right now. And now that we're like 40 minutes in this conversation, I feel like it's probably a good time to let you know this is the first episode of the podcast.
Oh, really nice.
I just have a nice, pleasant background, and it's just our voices over the thing. It's just like nice aerial views. And yeah, man, so this is the first episode of the podcast. I figured I was going to surprise you with it. Go ahead.
You can cut whatever out of it, right?
Yeah, I'm going to obviously do I'm not streaming it. I'm going to record it, and then I'm going to bleep some stuff out, you know, like any, you know.
This part.
No, I'm going to leave.
I'm asking you what you're going to bleep out.
I'm going to leave this part in, but basically like curse words, because this is basically the first episode, so we still got to spitball. Like, do you want it to be like a family friendly affair and bleep out or not curse or what? I mean, that's a honest question.
I mean, honestly, the more what do you call it? So the less censored it has to be. I would only assume the better. You know, but also, bro, so one thing that I really want to do, you know, one of my objective goals with the podcast is like, I think it's going to be really cool because I watch a lot of other podcasts and content creators that go over all sorts of conspiracies. And one thing that I really like about a few of them that really stand out to me is the ones that read the different conspiracies and they go over the different conspiracy videos, but they what do you call it? They put their biblical opinion on it. Like they're like, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if there's a conspiracy, like that's one thing that I'm able to do. One of the things that I pride myself on about my specific belief is that I'm able to fit a lot of different, unlike a lot of people, like for example, aliens, you know, there's some Christians out there that are like, no, aliens aren't real. It's not in the Bible. It's not real. Well, I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, like, just because, you know, I'm not gonna pull the argument of absence. You know what I'm saying? So just because the Bible doesn't mention aliens doesn't necessarily mean that they're not real. You know, so I mean, that's kind of the way I come at it.
One thing I like about that too is that I don't even believe in aliens at all. So when you want to believe in aliens, I'm the guy that's like, nah, you know. And a lot of the stuff that I say,
so you know,
a lot of the stuff that I say, you'll be like, yeah. So that's like a really good dynamic I think for any podcast.
So a solid conspiracy that I just recently heard about aliens. Okay, this will be a good section for our podcast here.
Here we go.
So check this out, bro. So I heard a guy put his biblical twist on aliens, and it actually blew my mind. So there's more sightings of UFOs coming from the ocean than actually coming from space. So what if Earth was flat and there isn't just a center?
So this is a flat Earth / alien.
It could
conspiracy.
be. It could actually be. It could potentially be. Now, mind you, this isn't my conspiracy. I can't take credit to this. This was a YouTube content creator.
Yeah, let's put on our tinfoil hats. Let's put on our tinfoil hats. I'm down.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, I can see how that could be a possibility. So basically, his thing was, what if, just like it says in the Bible, hell is below us. All right, and you know, if you ever look at like the flat Earth model that is just a straight fucking flat Earth, it usually has like almost like a root system underneath it. And what if the underworld was underneath us and basically aliens weren't actually beings from outer space, but actual demonic entities just from hell, bro? Like interdimensional, you know what I'm saying? They're interdimensional beings.
So let me grasp this. So they went from being underground to just like having spaceships. Like what are they building these spaceships underground? Is that what's going on?
Well, you know, hypothetically, if you were thinking about it, all right, if like we were trying to really think about if we wanted to be like, all right, let's try to oh damn, I missed this road. If we were like, all right, let's see how this all fits in, okay? We could all come to the conclusion that whatever humans can do, Satan is smarter. So he has the ability to do it just better. So when it comes to inventions, technology, anything like that, Satan is going to have just as much advantage as humanity, just even better. So it would not be out of the realms of plausibility to conclude that it would be very easy for him to create a technology that allowed them to travel easily.
So I like the Dante's Inferno motto with like the different levels of hell. You know what I'm saying? Like all the different.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Like I don't know, man, because I feel like that kind of goes into like the whole. It kind of adds like an evolution, like not evolutionary, but kind of like I guess, yeah, like an ascension, like you kind of ascend, like, you know what I mean? A little bit. You got to kind of, like, who knows? Like, if you die and you go to hell, I don't know if the Bible says that there isn't different levels to hell, you know what I mean? But that would be kind of like the same thing. It's kind of like if you believe in reincarnation, it'd be like kind of the same thing where you start off as like a snail and you got to like work your way up, you know what I mean? To like a person or an eagle or whatever you think the top species is or whatever, you know what I mean? I feel like that very well could be too, but then there you got the question of, all right, well, is there levels in heaven too? You know what I'm saying? Then it's how does that work? But then it's kind of like, I guess, go ahead.
Well, here you go. I got an answer for you. I got a good answer for you. And I'm going to answer it through scripture. Multiple times in scripture is it referenced that Jesus specifically talks about this. When talking about hell, he makes references that there are specific spots for specific people that do specific things in hell.
Oh, really?
Like, for example, like he says blasphemer, someone that, and the biblical definition of blasphemy is not just claiming you're God or whatever, but it's also
like doing things in the name of God or whatever and stuff like that.
Well, the main back in the day, the original in the book, in the Bible, the first time blasphemy is used is Jesus does a miracle. A bunch of Pharisees try to trick Jesus into committing a miracle on the Sabbath day. And when he does, they're like, boom, gotcha. You committed a miracle on the Sabbath day. God says you must rest on the Sabbath day. So therefore,
that's like blasphemy.
It can't be the power. He's like, the powers that you're using. No, this is not the blasphemy. The blasphemy is right here. The Pharisees say the power that you're using, because you used a spiritual power on the Sabbath, cannot be that of the Holy Spirit. So the power they accused Jesus of, instead of using powers of the Holy Spirit, they actually accused him of using powers of Beelzebub. And Jesus says, basically, this is actually the part in the Bible where it confirms whether or not suicide is forgivable or not. Jesus says, of all sins can be forgiven except for the sin of blasphemy against the Holy Ghost. And if you commit blasphemy, not only will God, his Father, the God, the Father in heaven, not forgive you, but he has a special place in hell for you when you die, basically. So if you
special
accuse,
place, yeah, okay. So suicide, you not only go to, or it's like for different things, I guess. I guess that it says it in the Bible there too.
He doesn't mention suicide. I was just mentioning that. He says that if you commit blasphemy against the Holy Ghost, that I think he says something along the lines of, "Verily I say to you, you'll have your place in hell." And
so
when he says that, you already know.
So is that so blasphemy? Is that just doing anything on the Sabbath when you're supposed to be like No.
The act of blasphemy that he called the Pharisees out for was accusing Jesus of using satanic powers instead of actual the Holy Ghost. See what I'm saying? Because when
okay.
Jesus cured the man,
so they accused Jesus of blasphemy, is what you're saying?
No. Jesus accused them of blasphemy after they accused Jesus of using the powers of Beelzebub.
Gotcha. Okay.
So basically, in that scenario, Jesus said that the act of basically wrongfully determining if a force was to be happening of God and you were to claim it wasn't of God, it was of the devil. That is what, in that specific scenario, Jesus is calling blasphemy.
So let's see.
So if
yeah, go ahead.
No, so I could only imagine, like, if someone was sitting here saying, "Oh, Jesus wasn't actually the Messiah; he was actually that is the act of horrible blasphemy." Specifically in that scenario, that's what they did. They said, "Jesus, you're not a user of the Holy Spirit. You're a user of the powers of Beelzebub, which is devil." So he was like, "Yeah, that's blasphemy what you just did right there, because I'm only using the Holy Ghost. I'm only using the Holy Spirit, and you're sitting here saying that I'm, you know what I'm saying, using powers of Satan."
So I guess this is the. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I'm just looking up. I'm looking up stuff right now. So wait, what's the name are we gonna do for this podcast exactly here? What's gonna be the name? We never really determined that either.
Bro, what about something like "What's up? What time is it?" Or "It's that time." You know what I'm saying? Like something like something catchy like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something catchy that's like, "All right, it's time, boys." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like, so, like how our one idea for the TV show is table talk. Something like that. Like,
it could just be like "Let's go," except not just with like an exclamation point. Maybe some other things at the end of it too. You know what I'm saying? To where, I don't know, something, because you don't really see symbols inside of the name of anything. You know what I mean? Just be like,
yeah. And I mean, honestly, the name of podcasts are completely, what do you call it? Like, for example, one of the number one podcasts on YouTube is the name of the podcast is No Jumpers.
Which, like, so basically you can have your name of your podcast basically making zero sense at all. It's kind of okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to reference. It doesn't have to be a reference about podcasting or anything like that.
Honestly, it kind of
the Joe Rogan Experience.
It kind of makes it more. Jumper. What is this about? I'm gonna tune in to figure out what this goofy, stupid name is about.
Yeah, like, No Jumpers. You're like, No Jumpers. What? Yeah. Like, I wouldn't. Honestly, it's kind of foolish if you ask me, because like, if you're looking, if it's just on your random feed and the only thing you get is a thumbnail of a picture, say that the thumbnail is a picture of a congressman that you don't know or whatever, and then you look at the podcast or the YouTube channel and it says No Jumpers, you're not going to be like, "Oh, this is a conspiracy."
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not throwing shade at all on this No Jumper podcast. I've never even heard of him until right now.
No, I personally think it's a bad name. Like unless there could be like an inside thing between them, which would make a lot of sense. Like,
I'm sure it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, like maybe when they were kids or something, they couldn't play basketball, and they called their squad the No Jumpers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That would make sense. Like, we don't play basketball. We're No Jumpers here.
And then we could name our podcast that, so people will want to tune in and figure out what the name is about. It's genius. That's what we could do. That's what we could do. We could just make up a complete random name and say it's an inside joke. Say it's an inside joke, and then it doesn't matter because it's an inside joke, so it doesn't have to make sense.
I feel like the thing that makes us, me and you, so unique and have the potential of anything that we do could be just like a fucking great creation is that we contemplate shit on a deep level. Like right now, if you were like, "Bro, No Jumpers," one of us is going to be like, "No, that there's no insinuation. You can't tell that it's a podcast, blah, 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 blah." You know what I'm saying?
Right. So let's see here. I'm just scrolling down some news here. I guess Rosie O'Donnell said something again. Who cares? I just hate Rosie O'Donnell anymore, man. Honestly, Rosie O'Donnell had really funny stand-up comedy back in the day. She was actually one of the like great woman comedian, and not even just for a woman. Like Rosie O'Donnell was like a fucking funny comedian back when she had like her sitcom and stuff. You know, like even like a little bit before her sitcom, Rosie O'Donnell was actually pretty funny. Now she's just some ugh. Like I just can't. Everything that comes out of her mouth is just ridiculous. But let's see what
Bro,
else.
I know. What do you think? What do you think about the whole assassination attempt, man, on Trump, bro?
I don't even know, man. Honestly, I have zero idea.
Did you like?
I was like, dude, honestly, I was listening to some things that people were saying. The whole thing,
It's pretty sketchy, man. It's pretty sketchy.
The whole thing stinks up and down, but not for the reason that everybody else is talking about. Like, oh, there's,
I'm on the same page. I'm on the same page, man.
Audio forensics and all this. I don't know anything about that stuff, man. So I can't even. That's outside of my wheelhouse. I can't even speak on. I'm not an audio guy, first of all, and I'm not. You know what I mean? So, but one thing that is really weird, man, is that that I thought was really weird is that. So in doing a lot of my research, like I ended up going to a lot of like Trump rallies and stuff, and every single time, dude, he has his private security team. Dude, they're huge, bro. They're like 7 foot tall, 350-pound monsters. Even the women, dude. I almost got beat up by one of this crazy, insane woman security guard just for being like too close. And so it was like really weird that like the only people that were
short.
Yeah, the only people around him were like 5'3". You know, not even them being women, because a lot of people made it into like this sexist thing and women shouldn't blah blah. It's not even about that, because dude, there's plenty of women out there that'll kick your ass, bro. So it's not even about this whole women thing. It's about it's about like how is it that he was able to shake off this 5'5" security guards and have this like perfect photo op when he normally from the Secret Service dropped the ball and his own security team dropped the ball, and the staffing was weird enough. The staffing was very weird, but like how is he able to? And I'm not saying Trump was involved. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that under any other circumstances, he would have disappeared through like a secret hatch, and it would have been like a magic trick. Nobody would have known where he went. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't have been able to like.
Oh, hey, bro. Hey, let me call you right back. My boss is calling me. He's probably telling me to quit fogging.
All right, hey, I'm just
I'll call you right back.
Switch over. I'm just gonna keep you on hold. We're gonna keep the podcast going.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, bye. So yeah, here we go. We're in the midst of it, so he knows now. He's well aware at this point. Let's see. Looks like it's holding. So far, so good. So I guess I'll hold on for a second, and yeah. Quick shout out to the podcast. We don't have a name yet, but like and subscribe for sure. Definitely like and subscribe. We don't even have a YouTube channel yet, but as soon as this is posted, we will. This is all very kind of fresh. So let's see what we got in the news. What's happening today? Netanyahu addressed to Congress. Let's see what else we got here. Something about NORAD intercepting 2 Russian and Chinese strategic bombers in Alaska air defense zone. Let's see what else we got going on today. Justin, Beyonce, and Taylor Swift doing a huge benefit for Kamala Harris. Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande, definitely. Jigga Jay-Z. Is Kamala on the presidential trail or what? On the election trail? I don't know, to be honest with you. I kind of think that it's probably going to be Michelle Obama. She's got name recognition, and I don't think that Democrat Party is really feeling this administration right now. So not really thinking so, but there's not really too much time left, so this very well could be. I don't know, and it's kind of most presidential administrations end up getting reelected. Most presidents end up getting reelected. So even though Biden stepped down, this is kind of another one of those continuation of the same. But like I said, most people even the Democrats aren't very happy with this party right now. But I guess we'll see. We'll see what's going on. It's a miracle Trump's ears completely healed. Let's see here. Let's see what this news is about. I don't know. I don't even. Apparently, the official story. I guess maybe we should wait for this guy to get back, honestly, because I think the official story was that his ear got hit with the glass from like the projector screen. And at least I think that was the official story. I'm not really. Actually, we live in 2024. We're gonna figure out the official story right now. Can't just do that. Can't just talk in my butt here. Let's see. Trump's ear. What's the official story on Trump's ear? Trump's ear probably has a Twitter page by now, I'm sure. If not, that's somebody should get on that. It's kind of a good idea. Twitter page for Trump's ear. All right, Trump heads to convention. All right, so Trump's ear doesn't have an official story on the first page of Google. Let's type in, what is that? A projector? A projector screen? Trump's ear glass. At this point, I'm not even making full sentences. It's just kind of jumbled, mumbled words. Let's see here. Let's see. Could just ask ChatGPT here, honestly, because at this point, ChatGPT is a little bit more. It'll give it to you raw, more raw than Google will, I suppose. I don't even know why I'm even using that search engine, to be honest with you. It's because my favorite search engine just got shut down. Everybody, big shout out to the number 2 me.global. You guys know who that is. You guys need to contact them, send them an email or a Skype or a tweet and tell them to open up shop, because that was the best search engine. And now not so much. Okay. I think Brave is another good one too. Brave search engine. Yeah, Brave. Yeah, it's a good one. Used to be my home screen, my home page. Not anymore. My computer just had an unfortunate stroke last night, and I just got it fixed. So luckily, I still have all my files and stuff. Let's see here. Trump's ear official story. Trump's ear glass projector story official. Official story. Let's see. Oh, I like Brave. It's pretty cool. It's got a little chat GPT right before the very first results. You got a little chat GPT right there, or something, some sort of AI. So according to this Brave AI that they have on the search engine, according to official statements, law enforcement he was hit by a bullet. So it was a bullet that actually hit him, which seems insanely. Okay, so initially, some anonymous sources claimed that he was not hit by a bullet, but by glass fragments from the teleprompter that was allegedly hit by gunfire. However, these claims have been widely disputed and refuted. Okay, which is honestly even more insane. That's even more insane, because I'm sure if it was an AR, it's definitely probably a 5.56 round, which means 5.56 round. It's a long bullet, but the actual the well, it's a long round, but the bullet itself, the part that makes the trajectory is fairly skinny, but it's still just absolutely insanely miraculous that something like that would end up happening. It's like the odds are just insane. Just because with the wind that day, and I mean, you could see from the footage the flag waving from the wind that day and everything else. That's just an insane. I actually saw. So there's no pictures of this ear here. Let's see this new picture here that somebody apparently put. His ear is officially healed. Let's see. Yeah, there's no telling when this picture was, though. It could just be a random picture from, a couple years ago. But yeah, no, the picture that I saw, it looked like the damn bullet went in his head. Like, honestly, it didn't look like part of his ear got blown off. It didn't look like any of that. It didn't look like, because if you're gonna, all right, so the only part that it could possibly have hit is like, the tip of his ear, where people get piercings on the ears and stuff, or anywhere. it would look like if somebody ripped out someone's gauges. It would just be a hole. And this, and at the time, even when I saw it was like somebody zoomed in, someone cropped in the picture from that day, from when it happened, and it didn't. It looked like the damn bullet went in his ear, and there was just no exit wound. It looked absolutely insane, and it was just blood, and so it's the whole that is kind of strange too. Like I feel like there should be a Trump's ear official story Twitter page, just kind of going into, hey, well, how does this? I mean, granted, your ear's not going to get blown off from a 5.56. It's most likely, but it's going to leave a hole, right? It's going to leave a hole. Like, it didn't stop in its tracks. So, and even if it doesn't leave a hole, even if it just nick the edge, it's still going to be like a noticeable piece of flesh that's missing in this whole scenario. So, seems a little weird. Seems a little bit strange. All right, so what else is going on in other news here? Looks like my let's see. And in other news, we got a bunch of dead air now that Kevin's not here anymore, so which is pretty weak. Let's see. Yeah, this is just like a conspiracies website. This is not. I mean, I guess that's the direction he wanted to go. This podcast was kind of like towards conspiracies, so. Which I always like it, And Kevin's one of those guys where he's extremely religious. He's a stand-up guy. He's a good guy, and but he, just like I am, he likes his conspiracies. I love putting on my tinfoil hat and just playing around with it. But he says that he's not a flat Earth guy, but whenever we start talking about it, you can tell he's definitely a flat Earth. I think he just tries to play the fence a little bit because he knows I like to dance around on all sorts of conspiracies and listen to debates and have fun with it, and entertain it. So I think he just says he's not a flat Earth guy. Just, oh yeah, I'm not a flat Earth guy too. Yeah, I play the fence. Except you go talking about how flat Earth's in the Bible, and you watch how fast he turns into a flat Earth guy, though. There's nothing wrong with it. I like my flat Earth guys, my flat Earth ladies, my flat Earth people, my globe people. I got love for everybody, so that's another one too. I guess Bigfoot was brought up in conversation the other day. This is the first time Bigfoot got a shout out in forever. I think Elon Musk shout out Bigfoot the other day. Let's see, Bigfoot Musk. Let's see what comes up. I think he was talking to Joe Rogan about it or something. Somebody was saying, which is very strange, honestly. I think that he's just. I don't think that Elon Musk believes in any of this and believes in. I mean, he's tapped in with the military-industrial complex. He's a part of the PayPal mafia. SpaceX is. I mean, space is a domain of warfare, so it's kind of. It's the same quasi public-private relationship that NASA had with the U.S. government, except that I think it's more private now than public. But yeah, so. I think that was probably the reason why they ended up kind of moving towards SpaceX, was because less oversight, really. But you still need the funding for matters of national security and such, but it's still privatized. I could see absolutely especially if it's a domain of warfare, that's the last thing we need is more privatized domains. Yeah, that's something else. I mean, I'm sure that. I mean, already in Afghanistan, our military operations were waged like 70% military contractors, which is like everybody. It's not just like militias and stuff. It's cooks and everything else, which is still regardless, it's still just an astronomical number. But yeah, is this guy still? He's still. Let's see what we got here. He still has me on hold. There's no possible way. Let's try to give him a call back. drown in here without him.
Yeah, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I felt like I was on the phone for a minute, but it was. I guess it wasn't. You couldn't hear me or whatever.
No, it was still connected. It didn't say hold this time. It just said last time it said hold. But yeah, no, I was just kind of talking and babbling and going over news, trying to fill some dead air. But I'm not even going to cut any of it. I'm just going to leave it. You know what I mean? That way we can look back at it later and be like, oh, this was our terrible first episode. It was just we spent the first 40 minutes talking about mosquito. We spent the first 40 minutes talking about mosquitoes. It was actually really good, man. Honestly, that was actually a really good fill. Like if I had my choice, and I know you kind of wanted to go like a little bit more towards like conspiracies and religion, but honestly, man, if I had my choice, I would totally love to have stuff like that. 40 minutes of mosquito talk, like that was fascinating.
Well, honestly, bro, so I do want it to be a conspiracy, but honestly, the idea of all right, so the perfect picturesque idea of what I have isn't just conspiracies. It's basically two homies talking about whatever's on their mind, basically just ingesting and digesting the world and all that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, bro, what do you think about the economy? What do you think about, did you hear about the genetic mosquitoes? Oh, what do you think about this? Or, you know what I'm saying? Oh, did you hear about this conspiracy? You know what I'm saying? So it's more than just...
You know what? Those two boys sound a lot like us. Yeah, buddy.
Those two boys were us.
Oh wait, I think you're right.
No, I wasn't talking about I wasn't talking about a different party. I was saying that's what I would like to, because a lot of different podcasts, it's like hyper focused. Either it's like on general conspiracies, political conspiracies. You know what I'm saying? Like,
dude, you want to know
whatever their focus is.
You want to know one conspiracy that I was just actually talking about while I was trying to fill some dead air there a minute ago? Was I guess Bigfoot just got another shout out recently. Haven't heard any Bigfoot conspiracies lately until I guess Elon Musk was talking about it with Joe Rogan or something the other day. And I was like, really? Elon Musk and Joe Rogan talking about Bigfoot, huh? But yeah,
you got to be careful, honestly, bro. So one of the things that I've been seeing a lot lately is, and they do this because of the two names, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, but there has been a influx of AI generated videos of Joe Rogan and Elon Musk talking.
No way.
And you have to be careful. Yeah, bro, you have to be careful. Like, I saw one the other day that blew my mind. It was like Elon Musk. He's like, so I got invited to a Kim Kardashian party. And she was like, Joe Rogan was like, oh, really? What was that like? He was like, it was interesting. He was like, I knock on the door and all the girls basically met me at the door. And it was like, they were like, yeah, come on in. And he said it was, for the first, and it's literally his voice too. And Joe Rogan's voice.
Dude, they say,
and he's like, yeah.
They say that you only need, it's down to like 10 words or something. You only need 10 spoken words of somebody's voice to completely recreate their cadence and everything.
So it's check insane. This out. This is what made me look into it, because I was like, no way, bro. There's no way this is Elon Musk talking. So he was like, yeah, I'm at the party and I'm chilling, and 20, 30, 40 minutes go by, and everything's nice. The food was great. The party was just copacetic and whatnot. It's like, and I looked over the corner, and I see Kanye West sitting there, and I was like, I wanted to go introduce myself. So he's like, I go over and I introduce myself, and I'm like, hey, Kanye, I'm a big fan, and it was like very specific too. He was like, hey, Kanye, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Elon Musk, and Kanye was like, hey, meet you, and he was like, I said, I was like, I just want to say, good work, basically. Like, I liked your Vulture album or whatever. And Kanye said, he was like, oh, appreciate it, man. And he kind of looked sad, or as if he was down and depressed. And I asked him, I was like, hey, what's up, man? And he's like, and he said, "Oh, these bitches be tripping, which was, and you have no idea the shit I'm going. They're trying to get my kids." And of course, I asked him.
Wow.
And he's saying I asked him, I politely ask, what do you mean? And he's like, do you want me to show you? And so, of course, curious, I say, sure. So he's like, follow me. So he leads me down this dark hallway, or this long hallway, and we get into a little elevator, and we go down this elevator, and when we get to the bottom of the elevator, the door opens, and there is basically a huge refrigerated room, and the walls of this refrigerated room are filled with nothing but what looked like to me bags of blood. And he said immediately, I was like, holy fuck, Kanye, what are you showing me right now? And Kanye said, this is what these witches be doing, bro. And I simply asked, what is this? And he said, this is adrenochrome. These witches, you have no idea what these witches will do to stay young, bro. I
guarantee you, because that's like exactly what you're talking about is how artificial intelligence and these deep fakes are weaponized for like narrative warfare. So regardless of like whether you believe whatever you believe, if adrenochrome is real or no matter what, you can like cause some real trouble by having very reputable people saying anything, not just adrenochrome, but you can have a deep fake of like the president saying, oh my God, some shit's going down, you know what I'm saying? Anything. And people would like lose their mind, you know what I'm saying? And like, it's
so I was like, and bro, he was literally straight up incriminating the Kardashians, bro. Like, I was like, oh my God. So afterwards, luckily the guy because I was the video that I heard it on happened to be a YouTube channel where the guy basically, he's a Christian, and he literally goes through different conspiracy theories and then puts his Christian biblical twist on it. And he was like, yeah, don't believe. He was like, I don't doubt that the Kardashians are doing something like this, but this is AI generated, so don't believe anything that you hear.
Yeah, dude.
And,
it's
crazy, bro.
It's a really weird spot, man, because it's one of those things. Like there's a lot of like spoof accounts. It'll be like, oh, an Elon Musk like fake spoof account. You know what I'm saying? And people will say things or like goof on stuff, or like they'll say things out of satire. But then there's like a really fine line, like a very fine line that you kind of dance with stuff like that, because there's no telling of who actually believes it. Even if the person that's doing it is just simply doing it as a joke. Or there's kind of no telling about the people that you know what I mean, that take it and run with it, or like people that pass it off as real and not like it's just like a joke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and people. There's a lot of people out there who watch videos and don't do their own vetting, and they see it, and then next thing you know, they're going and telling their friend, oh, bro, I legit watched a video of Elon Musk and Joe Rogan talking about this, and they're like 100% all cards in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then you like it's kind of like the telephone game, and like that's kind of like the ethically concerning part about it.
I'll be real with you, I do not doubt that what the AI thing was saying is true, but it's just one of those things where I'm not going to sit there and say that I believe that was actually Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if Elon Musk actually said that to Joe Rogan, that shit would be blown the F up, bro.
Yeah,
that would be on the internet everywhere. Oh, the Kardashians.
Yeah,
blood bank.
That's like one example too, man. Especially if people don't. Especially if like even if there was like a disclaimer at the very end. Like a lot of people won't watch it or read something until the very end to get the disclaimer. So that's kind of like a hard. That's kind of like an ethical kind of concern too, man. And it's kind of weird because like. How do I don't know, man. It's a very weird thing. These deep fakes. This is just like this is just one aspect of like this AI.
Hey,
artificial.
Bro.
What's up?
I'm sorry, bro. Selena's calling me. She's called me twice back to back now. Let me just make sure everything's okay.
Yeah. All right. There we go again with the dead air. It's hard. There's no way I could do a podcast just solely about myself. That would be insane. Insanely hard. Just sitting here, filling dead air. No way. I guess not off the cuff. Like maybe you could probably do it if you have like a not like a script, but like an outline at least, like a show outline where you're gonna hit this point and that point. Maybe have a couple jokes in between or something, maybe. But that's impossible. Yeah, and as soon as we get going, of course he clicks over. I guess I probably should have probably told him that I was going to be doing this, and we were going to probably told him that we were actually going to be doing just the first episode of our podcast. I probably should have let him know, that way something like this wouldn't happen. But yeah, as soon as we start getting good on the ethical concerns of AI and so dead air. Let's see what else we got in the news. All right, yeah. So I did find that that picture was real of him with his ear, with Trump's ear after the whole thing, and it's just bruised. There's it's just on the Gateway Pundit. There's a picture of it, and it's just the side of his head is bruised, which is to be expected. But hey, can you hear me there? Anyway, but yeah, like you would figure there would be a piercing, or maybe not a piercing, but like a something. You know what I mean? Where did it hit his ear? If it hit his ear, it's not like a punch. He didn't get punched in the ear. There was a bullet. There was a bullet involved. It's intact. His ear is completely intact. Huh. So, did a bullet hit his ear? And exactly where did the blood come from? Like, where did this blood come from exactly if it did hit his ear? Uh-oh. People are probably going nuts with this conspiracy right now, I'm sure. People are probably going crazy for it. Which, for good reason. I mean, there's a lot of really weird things that are kind of going on with this whole thing. I mean, they don't just let anybody snipe for the president. These guys are, like, decorated, like, ex-Green Beret or whatever they are. You know what I mean? So it's very weird that, like, this kid was able to just kind of, they didn't clock that as a security risk, even if it is outside the initial perimeter. Everything is in the perimeter when you could see it through a scope. So, regardless of what everybody says with the outside perimeter. Let's see here. What other kind of news we got? How do people find news anymore? News today. Or do we just type in news today? Just do a random little news drop. Let's see what we got here. Some market news. Of course, just market news, stock market news. Let's see. Thanks for joining me for this dead air, everybody. My lovely co-host will ever find his way back. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see.
Yo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, cool. I figured it out, bro. I had to hit resume. Last time I didn't hit resume.
Gotcha.
I guess.
Yeah, I can't there's no way I could do a podcast by myself. It was just nothing but dead air. I was like sitting there talking a little bit, and I'm like looking up the news. I'm like, dude, this is impossible. Like maybe if I had outline with like a couple bullet points to hit, but it's so much easier.
You would have to
with somebody else.
Yeah, you would have to have content to fill it. Like you would have to watch a video. Like a lot of the YouTube channels that I watch that do that, that's what they do. They have okay, someone else just called me.
Well, dude, even like Conan O'Brien in these shows, they at least, like the head guy that does the music, he's always the other person on the show. So even like David Letterman and these type, Jimmy Fallon, they always have like the music guy that they can kind of like.
Yeah, or they'll have their co-anchor. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them, like, you know what I'm saying? What's his like who? Jimmy Fallon has that one Mexican guy. That's like his co-anchor.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How
or
sure?
is that the other guy?
How sure are you that he is Mexican, by the way? Or is that just?
Pretty
like,
sure. I mean, he makes Mexican jokes.
He's like, no, It's like no. He's like no. I saw his daughter's quinceañera. He's definitely Spanish. He's definitely Spanish of some sort.
No, they make funny jokes about him. Like I think it's not Jimmy Fallon. It's Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, that guy.
You know what I'm talking about, Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah, dude. Honestly, out of every single late night host, I have to say probably the funniest is Conan O'Brien. Dude, Conan O'Brien is
fucking hilarious, man.
Hilarious. He was a writer for The Simpsons. He was a writer for...
I will say this, though. He is absolute... Dude, there is some absolutely questionable video. Like, I saw one time where he was like... I can't remember. It was like Bob Saget or something like that was on. The dude from the Mary-Kate and Olsen show or whatever, that one show, Growing Up or whatever. And he said something, dude, it was, to me, it was one of those, like, pedo alerts, bro. He said something, and it was like, yeah, they used to sit on my lap, and it was, like, weird. Bob was like, oh, yeah, they used to sit on my lap, and I'd have to be like, yo, you guys got to get off, or, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna drive me nuts or something like that. And Conan looked at the camera, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I wish I had those girls sitting on my lap. And it was just one of those real awkward, cringy, where you're like, what, bro? Why would you want that, dude? No.
Conan O'Brien, no.
Yeah,
no.
Everyone, dude. Jimmy, honestly, it's a shame. Jimmy Fallon is my favorite, but even him, bro, they're so sold out, man. They're all
weird.
Liberal.
Just weird.
They're just all liberal, woke, liberal, fucking... pushing that, you know what I'm saying?
Man, to be honest with you, because I don't really necessarily have too much like I don't have anything wrong with liberals, especially old school liberals. Not like it's a little bit different than today's liberals, but whenever I hate when anybody on either side of the political aisle desperately pushes an agenda of some sort. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It makes me feel, it's like nobody wants to be sold to. Like nobody wants, as soon as you go into a car lot, nobody wants somebody to run right up to and be like, hey, blah, 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 you want to buy? Like, nobody wants to be sold something. So I just, when I'm watching something like that, I'm trying to get away from all the nonsense. I like that's one thing that's pretty lame, like, to be honest with you, when it comes to, dude. But I will say Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Fallon has hilarious, his stand-up comedy, dude, was so funny, bro. I don't know if you ever caught any of his, before he had that show, he used to do stand-up comedy and go around like colleges and stuff, and a lot of it's pretty clean. It's very clean comedy. But
I love Jimmy Fallon, bro. He's one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, he is still.
It's not like past tense, but he still is.
Dude, it's kind of like one of those things. It's so hard to hold people's political affiliation against them, because it's one of those things, like, especially if somebody's like funny and it's like that's not their life. The only reason I can not hold it against them, but it just makes you look at them a little differently whenever those two worlds collide, and you're like, you don't really want those worlds to collide, you know?
So a lot of this is still, a lot of what I'm about to say is not 100%. And for anyone who would, listen to this, I would recommend anybody doing their own research to figuring it out. But dude, from what I understand, and I saw the logs with my own eyes, but there is not a single late night show host that wasn't on the Epstein Island flight logs.
Really?
Including Fallon, Conan O'Brien, you name it, they were on it, man. It's kind of a shame. To me, it kind of seemed like that was the club. Like, you gotta,
dude. To be honest,
make it big. You gotta,
dude. To be honest with you, man, it's kind of like whenever I hear about the flight logs, everybody has that knee-jerk response because it's Epstein. It's like this very topical. But to be honest, if I was at a party and some dude was like, "Hey, bro, I'm going on a private jet, bro, you want to come?" Like, my stupid ass would have been on that flight log too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think anybody.
Okay, so here's the thing.
I think anybody.
The one that I saw. So there was a list. There was a list that was put out, and the list consisted of only names that had been on it more than, I think it was like 3 times. So it's kind of like one of those things. If you went there once, like, yeah, I'll go with you, buddy. And then you go there and you see some like weird shit, that would be the end of that. I would not be going back.
Dude, or
I'd
like
just be into
nothing,
that,
dude,
you know?
or like nothing at all. Like because if this whole thing was a blackmail thing, then that means the flight log is the blackmail. That's part of the blackmail. So it very well could be that a lot of these people were just invited and they went 3 or 4 times and nothing happened. But as soon as your name is on that, you know what I'm saying? He probably did all his other weird shit with other weird people. Who knows who the people were that he actually did all that weird, goofy shit with? There might have been people
Dude, honestly,
there might have been people that just said that weren't into it. But he was like, you know what? I'm going to get their name on this flight log because it's all blackmail. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, bro, I have no doubts that they have, just like the whole thing with P. Diddy, man. I have no doubt that the government has hundreds of hours of incriminating footage and audio logs.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sure
that could wipe out so many people, but they're not going to put it out there. You know what I'm saying? But the flight logs is just that back thing. Like if he did go there and they were like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Here's our catalog. You can pick from this catalog. And they were like, no, thank you. I'm good.
Dude, to be honest with you,
well,
though,
at least
dude,
we still...
I like to think that stuff doesn't just get like buried under the FBI. We know that it has. Like there was a lot of things that get buried, but it's like the reasoning of why it gets buried, it just kind of sucks because like same thing with like there's still footage that just recently came out of Lee Harvey Oswald with JFK like hanging outside of like the warehouse or whatever it was. So and this footage just recently came out. So like the fact that like footage gets sat on, it's kind of a frustrating and annoying, but dude, I'm sure you're right, bro. They have to have, because it's like people get busted every day that have blackmail. If blackmail is this huge industry, people get busted all the time with blackmail. There's no way that there isn't a log somewhere with all sorts of stuff. Just from like
it's just imagine
a logical standpoint.
Imagine literally what would happen if the FBI came out and was like, yep, we have pretty much every major Hollywood name that you know is going to prison. Prince Andrew, Prince Charles is going to prison. You know what I'm saying? Bro. Like they're now.
How crazy would that be?
You know what I'm saying? That would send the whole world in chaos, bro.
Dude, that would be so crazy.
We're talking about World War immediately, bro. The royal family over there would be like, yeah, I don't think so. He ain't a wanted fugitive in our books.
Yeah,
I don't think like, well,
dude, I don't think anybody's arresting the royal family. First of all, like, let's be very real about that.
No,
no.
Because, dude, you heard about the whole thing with Disney, right?
Dude, just because of everything they know, like how if there's somebody that knows and that much and they have that much power, it's like that doing something like that would immediately turn somebody into a dictator. You know what I'm saying? Like arrest or like, dude, if all of Hollywood got arrested, imagine that. If like and they try to act like it didn't happen. Like Robert De Niro and all these characters got arrested and they're like, wait, what are you talking about? Who's Robert De Niro?
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Who's Leonardo DiCaprio? Who are you talking about?
Who's gonna make the next movies? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would. I don't know if who's gonna be in the next blockbuster is a national security threat, but I see what you're saying. I mean,
no. I'm just saying, like Hollywood, dude. The government, dude. I didn't know this. Okay, but the CIA, back in I think it was like the 1940s, the CIA passed a law that basically states the CIA has the ability to, if you're a film producer, whether it doesn't matter who you are, bro, whether you're Disney,
well, first off,
Warner Brothers.
Hey, hold on. First off, just in case there's people listening that are probably fucking going crazy, the CIA doesn't pass laws, but I see what you're saying. A piece of legislation got passed. Piece of legislation got passed.
Yeah, the piece of legislation. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay,
but continue.
So, basically, the CIA has the power. It doesn't matter who you are, but the CIA has the power to whenever a film producer or a company that makes films produces a film, the CIA has the rights to inspect the whole film and then tell you if it's acceptable, and then they can make changes to it accordingly. And there's actually
hold on. I think I'd have to,
dude.
Because that seems a little.
Listen.
Because these are private companies. You can't pass a law that says the CIA has this authorization to just go into a private company.
So I'm telling you, bro. This is not a conspiracy. I've seen the list. You can go to the CIA. It's called the CIA vault, the info vault, and you can go to CIA.org and look this up, bro. And there's a list of all the movies that have ever been put out that CIA had their hand in.
All right, so no,
And
you're right.
the list.
You're right. I'm not saying that you're wrong on that front. I'm saying this law that you're talking
I know,
about.
but my whole point is maybe it's not even a law. I would want to look into it more before I said it's a law. But basically, they have the power to do this. And when you actually go to the CIA website and look at all the movies that they've helped direct,
there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
Every movie, dude. There's not a movie that has been a major blockbuster film that they didn't have a hand in. I'm talking about things from Star Wars to The Little Mermaid.
All right, here we go.
Like, name it.
Dude, I found something here, okay? So documents expose how Hollywood promotes war on behalf of the Pentagon, CIA, and NSA. So this says that these guys, Tom Secker and Matthew Alford, report their astonishing findings from trawling through thousands of new U.S. military intelligence documents obtained under the Freedom of Information Act, a FOIA request. So the documents reveal for the first time a vast scale of U.S. government control in Hollywood, including the ability to manipulate scripts or even prevent films too critical of the Pentagon from being made, not to mention influencing some of the most popular film franchises in recent years. This raises new questions about not only the way censorship works in the modern entertainment industry, but about Hollywood's little-known role as a propaganda machine for the U.S. national security apparatus, bro.
Dude, go down the list. See if you can find a quick list of movies that they've had an influence on. It's absolutely just mind-blowing.
So it says the CIA's role was assumed to be just a dozen or so productions until very good books by Tricia Jenkins and Simon Wilmotz were published in 2016. But even then, they missed or underplayed important cases like including Charlie Wilson's War and Meet the Parents. Meet the Parents was a CIA film. Okay, along the massive scale.
Bro, I'm telling you, dude,
along the massive scale of these operations, there's a new book called National Security Cinema. Details how U.S. government involvement also includes script rewrites on some of the biggest and most popular films, including James Bond, the Transformer franchise, and movies from the Marvel and DC cinematic universes, bro.
Yes, bro. Told you, dude. It's crazy, man. Like, why are they messing with Superman?
It's also TV. Apparently, America's Got Talent, Oprah, Jay Leno. I'm sorry, not Jay Leno. Jay Lenoto, Cupcake Wars. Cupcake Wars, dude. What kind of influence peddling and propaganda are they possibly inserting into Cupcake Wars? That just doesn't make any sense. This is insane, dude. Top Chef. The CIA even helped to make an episode of Top Chef that was hosted at Langley, featuring then CIA director Leon. Okay, so maybe some of this is, you know what I mean? We're gonna, you know what I mean? We want to make them. It's like public relations. Like, okay, we want to make the military look good. We're gonna do an episode of Top Chef. You know what I'm saying? So of course, I can see them having creative oversight. I don't necessarily think that it's kind of like we're just gonna manipulate the. You know what I'm saying? I think that could just be a public relation thing.
Or is it possible that the CIA has technologies such as like frequencies and binaural beats that they can do that make certain suggestions more appetizing and appeasing?
Oh, dude, you're absolutely on. You hit the nail on the head as far as like they call it like military operations other than war. MOOTW, MOOTW, and it's like using frequencies and sound and visual effects to basically kind of create psychological conditioning. So, and not only conditioning, but actually engineer change in attitude and behavior.
Yeah.
So I'm not. Trust me, man. I wrote multiple books on it. There's nobody that's disagreeing. with you.
Bro.
There's nobody that's agreeing with you more than me. But I was just saying that sometimes maybe it's not like, you know what I mean. All like everything. You know what I mean.
Not all nefarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So check this out. I watched a documentary one time, and they explained Operation Paperclip. You know Operation Paperclip, right?
Yeah.
So Operation Paperclip, just for those that don't know it, it was kind of like back in World War II when after America basically won the war and the Nazi Germany was disbanded, the CIA decided that instead of prosecuting all the Nazi scientists, that they thought that they could figure out a better use for them, and they actually decided to put them to work and employ them for the United States government. And one of the craziest things that came out of Operation Paperclip, and this is also now anything could be faked nowadays, but I saw with my own eyes some of the paperwork that was supposedly receipts to prove this, what I'm about to say, but there was a conversation written through email that was a conversation between the CIA and Walt Disney himself, where basically they said that they reached out to Walt Disney and said, hey, we got this scientist. He specializes in basically mental warfare, and we want him to work for you. And the goal of the whole goal of the idea of having him work for Disney was to start putting subliminal stuff in to help groom children in other countries to be less harmful to the American government in the future.
Yeah, no,
and Walt Disney signed off on it and everything. He was like, all right, cool. So, and the guy that they were talking about happened to be, I can't remember his name, but he happened to be one of the most horrific scientists. He was like the guy that was like, I think with his own hand, he has more deaths than almost any human out of history. Like this guy with his own hands has killed more people than any other human being in history. And this guy right here, they hired onto Disney.
Get this too, man. Get this. So I didn't know this at all. So another thing that Walt Disney contributed, because obviously we know just from all the old cartoons that Disney cartoons promoted a call to arms for the war efforts during World War II. We know that for sure. There were Disney cartoons that came out at the time, and other cartoons as well. So another thing that Walt Disney did for the war, throughout World War II, the Walt Disney Company made significant contributions to improve the morale of U.S. forces with specifically designed insignias. As the war raged on, Disney created more than 1,200 of these insignias, which were proudly displayed on aircraft, medical units, uniforms, and other military equipment. I did not know that. Yeah, dude.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. But yeah, no, I honestly had no idea about this CIA document. And man, it really stinks because like a lot of these leaks and a lot of these things, WikiLeaks doesn't even stand behind the authenticity of their documents. They basically say like we try to vet it, but we don't guarantee anything. So like a lot of like there was what is it? There was the document. It was called, it was basically you know how, I'm sure you've probably heard the conspiracy that the U.S. government, the conspiracy that the U.S. government created AIDS. Did you hear that conspiracy?
I'm sure, but I can't remember much of it.
So there was a Russian operation called, let's see, Operation AIDS, let's see. And it's basically, there was like a series of, I don't even know if this is even necessarily true or not or whatever, but basically it's like Operation Infection or Operation Infectin or something like that. And it's basically, there was just documents that basically linked the U.S. to like creating AIDS to basically kill off black people and gay people.
Breaks my heart because I love the country so much. Dude, I hate to hear stuff like that, man.
Dude, but like I said, there's no telling if these documents are real or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no.
Yeah, true.
There's no telling. I mean, personally, I know that the military has recognized that biological warfare exists. So the idea that AIDS was created doesn't sound too crazy.
Far-fetched.
Yeah, because I mean, definitely if we know about biological warfare over the last 20 years, then definitely they've been experimenting on it for 50, you know what I'm saying? At least.
Sure, yeah.
For sure. So, dude, did you even but whether the US was I mean, that's like a whole other topic. That's like around the same, it's like basically your old school COVID conspiracies kind of with like, it's like the exact same thing. Like literally the exact same US government created it. It was like the exact same through documents. No telling if the documents are real. But anyway, there are some very good researchers that have done some really deep diving into some of the facilities that some of this like gain of function research and the term gain of function is actually something I don't know, that's way outside of my wheelhouse. But point being, dude, did you hear that there was this other military technology that was created called the gay bomb. Did you ever hear that?
No.
Yeah, dude. So
Never heard of that.
the gay bomb. So it's basically there was the gay bomb refers to non-lethal psychochemical weapon concept about which the United States Air Force speculated. So there was a document that was released, and I don't think it was released. I think it was okay. So dating back to 1994, the Wright Laboratory in Ohio, which was the precursor to the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory, drafted a 3-page proposal detailing several potential non-lethal chemical weapons. And one of this was the gay bomb, which was among their concepts, like one of these concepts that basically it was supposed to, let's see. So no well-controlled science. First off, no scientific studies have ever been published suggesting that the possibility of pheromones causing rapid behavioral change in humans, but it doesn't mean that this couldn't, you put hormones in water, you put hormones in anything over a long period of time, you could definitely, hormones are like the, I don't want to say the building blocks of life, but you know what I'm saying. But basically it's kind of like, all right, so there was other leaked all right, so then there was another set of documents that were leaked, and in both of these documents the possibility was canvassed that a strong aphrodisiac could be dropped on enemy troops, ideally one which would also cause, quote, homosexual behavior, end quote. The documents describe the aphrodisiac weapon as a, quote, distasteful but completely non-lethal, end quote. So it's basically...
I mean, wow.
Yeah, man, and that's interesting. It's interesting that this is only back in like 1994. That
I guess
that like how far we've come, where the military was like, yeah, we could just turn them gay. That would be a good advantage. That would be a good military.
I mean, I guess instead of having a buffer.
I was gonna say they used to look at it as a military advantage if your opponent was gay, and now it's completely embraced. So you see how far we've come just in this whole.
Well, I'm sure it's embraced because honestly, going back to the biblical take on things, it's like not only is it in the Bible a sin to do that, so the more people that you can get to do that, the more people you're getting to sin. But I would also be willing to bet that there's some sort of difference. And if you had a whole, if you had 100-man soldiers, if you had 100-man army where everyone is a ruffian, they're, got teeth missing and tattoos, and they're down to kill anything, versus another equally numbered army or a soldier where everyone's, homosexual. Like, I have a feeling like that the former is probably going to beat the latter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this news came out like so long ago too. I remember hearing this on like Opie and Anthony, this old like shock jock like radio show, and it was like
at least the army with non-homosexuals is probably going to be at the very least more aggressive.
Yeah, and that's I don't think that the whole idea was like, oh, we're not going to go out to battle today. We're too busy making out at the in the barracks. I don't think that was like the idea. I think it was more along the lines like you were saying, like people being more like less aggressive, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's basically a way to drive down morale, I guess, maybe. Also, I guess in some way that they could possibly view it as, because I mean I don't know. It's not generally homosexuals that are bloodthirsty for, war. So it's a way to be able to,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's very strange. But yeah, but anyway, let's see. Oh, dude. Oh my gosh. So pictures just came out of Trump's ear, by the way. I was waiting for you to get back on the phone before I talk to you about it. Trump's ear, like pictures of his ear, like now. Dude, so what? All right. 5.56 AR-15, whatever, a bullet. I mean, it's a long round, but the bullet is kind of skinny, right? It's not very like big. It's basically like the size of like a like earring gauges. You know what I'm saying? It's basically kind of like the diameter. Yeah. It's like a size of like earring gauges. Not like super big. Maybe the diameter of a pen, like a little bit bigger than a big pen.
Yeah, honestly, a pencil. Like it looks like you could shove a straw through it.
Yeah. So that being said, all right, they the pictures. All right, so at first there was so at first the story, remember I was saying that it was like I don't know if I told you about this, but basically it was like, is it a bullet, maybe it was glass from the projector screen. There was like an anonymous tip that said like it was like glass from the projector. Well, the official story that came, at first I thought that was the official story. It was like it was the projector glass, because when immediately after it happened it was just blood, there was no like hole, so a lot of people were like, oh, it couldn't have been a bullet, right? Now the official story is it's a bullet. But there's like, if you look at it now, it's not like there's a chunk of his ear missing. He doesn't have like a fucking gauge in his ear. He doesn't anything, right? There's no.
I haven't seen the picture,
dude. It just came out. Let's see here. It just came.
Well, I will say something to piggyback on that. One of the things that I saw that was at the very least suspicious was there's a series of there's a video that a specific camera has caught, a random person in the crowd got a perfect perspective of this. But there's that one moment where one of the guys that's holding, surrounding Trump is actually gripping Trump's hat in his hand. Okay. And it's almost like frame by frame. Like if you slow the video down and look frame by frame, in one frame, there's not any blood on the hat at all. And then in the next frame, you start to see blood, but it almost appears as if it's dripping from the guy's hand. And even more questionable than that, and it's not even like, oh, that's suspicious because it's dripping from his hand. But the thing that got me was that the blood is on the right side of the hat, and he got shot in the left ear, or vice versa, one of the two. It's on the left side of the hat, and he got shot in the right ear.
Huh? Did they mention that? Did they mention that in the video?
Yeah, I saw a video of it. Like he was like, basically, I saw a video that was detailing everything suspicious about the Trump shooting. You want to know? And that was one of them.
Dude, so to piggyback on that, so it seemed very strange to me that nobody was applying pressure, because obviously it's a wound, you know what I'm saying? It's probably, you figure blood's leaking, you better apply some pressure to it, you know what I'm saying? And granted, whenever it first happened, he didn't start bleeding, because sometimes when you get nicked or sometimes you get hit, sometimes you got to start moving and then blood starts gushing.
Sure, yeah.
So for sure that could
right
be.
away it's like white.
Yeah. So like essentially, realistically, what it could be. So
you got to.
It very well could be that there was blood on the hat. Well, it could have been there was blood on the hat, but I don't know if there was so much blood to where it was. I mean, it very well could. Sometimes you get nicked.
Okay,
sometimes
so yeah, in the video.
Go ahead.
In the video, it clearly appears to be dripping from the back of the hat where the guy's gripping it from, and it's dripping almost as if some people conspiracize that the blood on the hat came from some sort of fake blood capsule that the guy that was holding released. Because like I said, in one frame, now this isn't my theory, this is just what I've heard on the internet, but in one frame you can see the hat and there's clearly, it's a white hat, there's clearly no blood on it. And then in the next frame you can see the blood start from the top and start to work its way down, which blood obviously does, in a dripping manner. However, it's on the left side of the hat, the side of the hat where there shouldn't have been blood on.
Well, I mean, it very well could have been that maybe he was, because maybe when they ducked down, maybe he was applying pressure and maybe he got blood on his hand and it was dripping. Because sometimes I've nicked myself and it didn't seem like a very big nick, and then next thing you know, it starts pouring blood. You know what I'm saying? So,
sure, yeah.
So it very well could be that.
But the hat wasn't on his head though. The hat wasn't on Trump's head. It was already off of his head. Like it was in the guy's hand. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not holding the hat on his head. He's holding the hat in his hand, and that like the hat falls off of Trump's head, and the guy picks it up off the ground and he's holding it in his hand, kind of deal.
Yeah, it could have been like one of those situations where he went to go apply pressure, it started really fucking bleeding, but then he was like, but then don't you think that if it was really dripping bleeding, that would be more reason for him to continue applying pressure and not necessarily take his hand away.
You know
what I'm saying?
I just feel like, regardless, how did blood get on the opposite side of the hat?
Well, it could have been on his hand. It could have been on his hand, and that's how it got on the hat. So
much blood that it was dripping from his hand. I mean, that would, like, bro. I feel like if I had a cut and I wiped blood, and you know, if I got a cut and it's like pouring blood, and I wiped it with my hand, and then I grab my t-shirt, it's gonna soak. It's gonna absorb into my t-shirt. It's not gonna like drip down. I mean, you'd have to have.
I see what you're saying.
You would have a heck of a lot of blood in order for it to be dripping. Like it appears to be dripping in the video.
Yeah, and I don't think that his ear was. I mean, it was streaming down the side of his ear, so it very well could have been dripping as well. I don't want to say that even his ear wasn't dripping, but so it very well could have been that his ear was dripping. But this is also really weird. Is that somebody paused the video when it happened, and it was like a clear shot of his ear, right? And there was just blood on either side of his ear, dude. And if you look at the ear, bro, it looks like it doesn't look like the bullet went, like, you know, brush him. It looks like the bullet went into his head and there's no exit wound. It looks really weird, man. It looks really weird. It doesn't look like something, because it doesn't look like a normal ear hole. It almost looks like something. It could have just been like a very weird shot, but the only reason why I said that is because there's this guy on Twitter, and for the last like 4 years, he's like fully convinced that Trump is the Antichrist. So I was like, man, how crazy would it be? Because it says that, you know, fun little conspiracy, a fun little entertainment.
Yeah, he's going to get a gunshot to the head, but
because it says it does say it in the Bible. It says it in the Bible that one of the heads of the dragon, the head of the, there was like the Antichrist takes like he like
the
recovers.
Evil one. He suffers an assassination. But one of the things about it, and this is kind of, I thought it too, but this is a few things to highlight scripture that kind of separates this incident from potentially being that, is that one of the key factors is that the evil one is thought to be presumed of as dead, and he's going to be presumed to be dead for 3 days, just like how Christ is thought to be dead for 3 days.
Okay.
And then after the third day, all of a sudden, miraculously, he's back. He's not dead. He's revered and he's back to life. And then another key fact on that
is, does it say that? Wait, hold on, bro. Hold on. Does it actually say that?
Yes, it says this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then another key factor to the description of the assassination attempt is that the head wound, whatever the head wound is that is caused in the assassination attempt to the evil one, when he comes back after the third day, he's going to have the head wound. They don't specifically say it's a wound to the eye. However, when he comes back, he's going to have one missing eye.
It says that?
So, yeah, in the Bible, like it's clear that he has one missing eye in the Bible. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that. Okay. Well, I guess that conspiracy's out the way. It's probably why I haven't heard anything about that. You know, because
this kind of squashes that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure people probably already went through all of that. We're like, no. Well, who knows? Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Either way.
All right. So
nonetheless, very weird. Nonetheless, the whole
suspicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing. Did you hear about one of the most suspicious things about the whole thing was the very incredibly suspicious lady sitting behind Trump?
I don't know about that, man. I saw somebody touching on it, like she immediately pulled out her camera phone and started smiling or something. So, the smiling thing is a little bit weird, but people do a lot of weird things whenever emotional situations.
To me, it's not the smiling that's suspicious. So basically, she's sitting there, and she's sitting there just what appears to be minding her own business, and it almost as if it's like a cue. She holds up a sign, and as soon as she holds up the sign, the shots start to fire. And basically, as soon as she holds up the sign, she immediately she holds up the sign, shots begin to fire, and she immediately puts down the sign and holds up her phone. And the crazy thing about it is that obviously, after she holds up her phone, shots are ringing off, and she's not even in the slightest bit afraid. Like, she doesn't even flinch, bro. Like, if you were standing directly behind her, behind a guy getting shot, you would think that one of your first natural responses is to duck or, you know, scramble.
I don't know, man, because we live in like a reality show culture where there could be somebody getting beat, like a woman and child getting beat up, and people would pull out their camera phone before they even offered to help. So that's not like too weird, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there were a lot of other people that also didn't flinch either too, though. Like that guy that they say was like RFK, or I'm sorry, JFK Jr. or whatever, like reincarnated. He was in the crowd behind Trump also. Like, and he didn't flinch. There was a lot of people that were kind of just standing there.
I didn't hear about that guy.
Yeah, no, dude. Well, yeah, he's just this guy that basically every like conspiracy theorists and QAnon people think that like it's JFK Jr. or like not reincarnated, but basically he never died. He like faked his death or something. But anyway, long story short is if you watch the videos, when the shots are ringing out, nobody really ducks and moves. Like everyone's kind of like, what's going on? I'm like, dude, like I was very surprised at that because, dude, I would have been off the back of the bleachers. I would have been gone, bro. Gone.
Oh yeah.
Gone, bro.
Yeah, especially if I had a family. My family there.
Gone, dog. Gone.
I'd at least be throwing my body over my son like I was his Secret Service, you know?
Yeah, bro. That would be so embarrassing for Secret Service to see you like working faster for your kid than they work for the president. That's insane. Ex-president.
Yeah.
That's fucking embarrassing.
That is
And they're like, Kevin, we need you. We need you to teach our men. We reviewed the footage. We reviewed the footage from that day. We saw how fast you were that day, and we need you to teach our Secret Service. Yeah.
Get a letter in the mail. We'd like you to join our team. So I will say this. Another thing, one more suspicious thing that I saw that I can kind of get behind because I actually watched the I wouldn't call it an interrogation, more so of a grilling of Miss Cheadle, the Homeland Security or the Secret Service director, the director of the Secret Service. So Congress just basically, you know, she was interrogated by Congress, and and it kind of piggybacks on that conspiracy of why did the shooter use an AR-15? If your goal is to assassinate a target, and he's 150 yards away.
Dude, I guess the story was it was his dad, so he didn't go out and buy one. I think it was.
I know. But listen, my point is that this is one of the whole things is that it's just suspicious that the AR-15 of all the weapons that his dad had was the one that he chose, because if you were trying to make an actual assassination attempt from 150 yards away, an AR-15 isn't going to be my first pick. You know what I'm saying? For one. But for two, the reason why I even thought it was suspicious, so I heard it and I was like, yeah, it's because whatever. But then I watched the interrogation of Miss Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service, and it kind of, the more I watched the interrogation, the more blatantly obvious the potential motive for choosing that specific gun happened to stand out to me. So almost every single Democrat congressman and congresswoman that interrogated Miss Cheadle brought up the fact, and like literally this question, I can't tell you how many Congress people asked this exact specific frame of question. Miss Cheadle, let me ask you a question. Does the fact that assault weapons like the AR-15, a weapon of war, a weapon that the military uses.
Oh, I know, dude. I know.
Does the fact that these weapons are out, does this make your job harder or easier? And honestly, the funniest thing about it was that, because I didn't like the way Miss Cheadle responded. She seemed either like she was hiding something or just completely ignorant and incompetent the whole interrogation. However, every single time she was asked this question, she didn't fall for it, because realistically, the thing about it is what they were wanting her to say was, "Oh, having AR-15s out there makes our job harder." But she never said that, bro. She never said it makes her job harder. She literally consistently said, "Our job is always hard." And they would be like, "I know, but does people having these weapons of mass warfare a military style assault rifle AR-15, does this make your job harder? Our job is consistently harder. And the answer is no. Having an AR-15 doesn't make your job harder, because the thing about it is it's not an assault rifle. It's not a machine gun. It's not spitting out freaking, 30 rounds in 5 seconds like an actual assault weapon is. It's not even classified as an assault weapon.
Dude, it's so
you know what I'm saying?
It's so funny. It's so, yeah. Well, dude, obviously the anti, there's every situation the gun lobby will take advantage of, and every single situation the anti-gun lobby will take advantage of. So that's clear political posturing. It's clearly obvious, but it's so funny like how these guys will be like, they'll just take words and jumble it. You could tell these guys have probably never handled a firearm or don't practice gun safety, let alone handle a firearm. And it's so funny because they'll just take words and just mash them together. They'll just be like, this assault AR-15 style semi-rifle automatic machine gun.
No, they never call it semi-automatic, bro. They never one time called it semi-automatic.
Oh, really? Yeah, they'll just be like,
that makes it sound not as dangerous.
Yeah, I guess you're right. They'll be like, these weapons of assault warfare, assault rifle, AR
assault
style.
Weapons of,
they just start saying random
these
words.
Assault weapons of warfare. Yeah, it's like, oh my god, dude. Honestly, the fact that according to ATF, a AR-15 is not even classified as an assault rifle makes every one of those congressmen who are literally spokesperson and representatives of our country ignorant, dude. It makes you sound so stupid when you sit up there and call and misclassify something as simple as that. How many times, I can't tell you how many times I've heard in a debate of weapons, a congressman called it an assault rifle, and then Director Wray himself, the FBI director, literally when he was on there, he debunked it. An AR-15 is not classified as an assault weapon. AR stands for Armalite Rifle. That's the name brand of the weapon, the original weapon. And it literally is not classified as an assault weapon. But yet, they keep saying it. It's like,
dude, to be fair, well, I mean, it's honestly pretty funny that Christopher Wray was the one that stood up and corrected them, as he rightfully should. But it's pretty. I mean, to be fair, I didn't realize that an AR-15 wasn't in assault rifle. I just looked it up. AR-15 and other semi-automatic rifles are not assault weapons or assault rifle. An assault rifle is fully automatic, a machine gun. I did not know that, man. I had no idea.
So. Yeah, and here's the thing: is after this conversation, I would assume and expect you, as ignorant human being, who learned something, and now you're not just going to completely forget it in 5 seconds, right? So the next time we talk, I would assume that you're not going to just categorize an AR-15 as an assault weapon. Yeah, that would be a lot like someone driving a pickup truck, or even better, that would be a lot like somebody driving a semi truck. And then someone being like, hey, can you pick me up in your car? Someone being like, oh, it's not a car, it's a semi-truck. Oh, okay. Well, can you come and swing by and pick me up in your car?
Yeah.
It's not a car, it's a semi-truck. Got you. And then later on, they're telling their friends, that was great. Yeah, he came up. We drove around in his car. It's like, oh my God. Like, how many times are you going to do that before... You know what I'm saying? Before it's obvious that whatever, you just want to call it a car, like even though it's not a car, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. To be honest with you, man, like you raise a really good point, because like regardless of how you feel on like the Second Amendment issue, it really does. It's very disappointing that our elected representatives aren't at least well enough versed on the same bills that they're for or against enough to address it correctly. It seems very disappointing.
Yeah. So here's my thing. This is what I wish Mosquito would have said, okay? In response to the Democrat congressman saying, Mosquito, let me ask you, does the fact that the citizens of the United States of America have such easy access to these assault weapons of war, style AR-15s, does this make your job harder and easier? What I wish you would have said was, actually, Congressman, it makes our job easier because thank God he was using an AR-15 from 150 yards away. Because had he had a 308 rifle, bolt-action rifle in his hand with a high-powered scope in his hand, it's very likely that he would not have missed his shot. The shot would have probably been on target. 308 bolt-action rifle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he missed his shot because he used an AR-15. It's a gun that's not meant to be used from that distance.
Oh, dude,
so
they would have picked her apart. They would have been like, oh, so you mean they would have picked her apart. Honestly, I really appreciate. Honestly, it would have been funny not funny, but it would have at least schooled them on the same weapons that they're so against. At least they would have had a little bit more
I'll
insight.
tell you what. Because I'll tell you at least one person who's glad that guy used an AR-15, and that's Donald Trump. Because I'm telling you what, if that guy would have picked up his dad's, deer rifle, a 308 bolt action, or any rifle that has a high-powered shot that's meant to be
scope,
dude, that shot would have been a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's kind of like.
Yeah, he wouldn't have had just a bruised ear. Trump wouldn't just have like a bruised ear right now, dude. He would have a head problem because it would be gone.
Yeah, and to argue even more, because I can hear some people playing devil's advocate, I can hear them being like, well, the reason why the AR-15 was so dangerous was because it's just, he was able to shoot off multiple rounds rapidly in rapid succession with a high capacity magazine. Well, to counter that, are plenty of long distance sniper rifles even that are semi-automatic, and you can fire off a series of multiple shots very quick with some of the rifles out there that are non-bolt. Any rifle that's non-bolt action and is a semi-automatic, you can shoot off in semi-rapid fashion.
Long range definitely. It would have been a way worse situation. Yeah, but man, the whole thing kind of stinks, man. The whole thing, because it's one of those things. It was like his private team. Okay, Donald Trump's a billionaire. I mean, I don't know for sure he's a billionaire. I'm just assuming he's a billionaire. He's got enough money to where he's had a private security.
No, he's not a billionaire. I don't think so.
He has enough money he's had enough money
multi-billionaire.
He has enough money for a long enough period of time where he's had his own private security detail for almost a half of a century. Almost 50 years Trump has had his own private security detail. I've seen them. They're huge, bro. So that alone, they were bringing on a new set of people for his private security detail, and then we were trying on a new set of people for Secret Service at the exact same time. We have this vulnerability that we're gonna kind of ignore. Yeah. Oh wait, these Green Beret highly decorated snipers. I don't know if they're Green Beret. Highly decorated snipers. Obviously, these guys are trained to know where these vulnerabilities are. So this whole vulnerability slipped. It didn't just slip through one crack. It slept through multiple cracks through the entire chain of command. And this 18-year-old, 20-year-old Boy Scout knew to take advantage of the situation. It just seems like the whole thing is just like, and this isn't even like going into crazy conspiracies. Like there's another conspiracy that just came out today that this guy is a part of. He was actually, what is it? Part of the FBI. He has an FBI email address or something like that came out, and something about crypto. There was a conspiracy about the crypto, and I think it's really.
You're talking about
the shooter guy.
Okay, so Crooks. Yeah, so check this out, bro. Here's another. I think this is kind of what you're talking about right here. So, and they actually completely shut this down. So, quite a few years ago, talk about connecting conspiracies right here. Okay. Quite a few years ago, this guy happened to be in a commercial for BlackRock. Okay, Crooks was in a commercial for BlackRock. All right,
it couldn't have been that long ago. The kid's only 20 years old. It couldn't have been forever ago.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago, like 2 years ago or whatever. So the guy Crooks was in a commercial for BlackRock, and get this: the building that he climbed on was owned by none other than BlackRock, bro.
Are you sure, man?
Tell me how suspicious. Yeah, that's what I heard. I didn't look it up. Do your own research. I did not look it up. but that's what I heard from a very reliable source.
What do you mean very reliable? Wait, who did you hear this from? Let's hear it. Spill the beans.
Well, it wasn't so much that the source was just this infallible, reliable resource, more so of the context that it was in was, you know, having a debate on internet. Actually, it was Stephen Knowles who said this.
Who was it?
So not that Stephen Knowles is Stephen Knowles.
Oh, okay.
He's a conservative. He's a conservative speaker. He's like good with. He's partners with Michael Knowles. I'm sorry, not Stephen Knowles. Michael Knowles. He's good friends with what's his name? Old Ben Shapiro.
Oh, okay.
So it's not necessarily that Michael Knowles is just as infallible is viewed by millions of people, and if he were to just come up with a blatant, flagrant lie like that, he would be called out immediately. So I would expect that if he was going to make such bold claims, that he would just completely and utterly lies.
Yeah, I mean, dude. I mean, but I mean, dude. That's the thing about
misinformation. He actually showed. All right, so first of all, he showed.
I was gonna say, man.
He showed video like he actually showed a video of the commercial, so I actually got to see footage of the commercial. So the guy was absolutely in a BlackRock commercial. Now, the only thing that really still stands up to the question was, in my books, was whether or not the actual property itself was owned by BlackRock.
Okay.
Honestly,
gotcha.
looking at which honestly, likely, I mean, BlackRock owns so much that I don't even doubt it, bro. You know what I'm saying? BlackRock literally owns a little bit of everything. And in some circumstances, everything of everything.
Yeah, it's in
2020. Or a lot of everything.
2022. I don't know if anybody's really showed the receipts for this at all. Like, if it was actually, or just like some doppelganger that looked like him. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how a lot of the stuff that happened with not the Parkland shooter, but like a lot of the crisis actor stuff.
Well, I'll tell you
that's how a lot of that stuff came about, because there were people that kind of looked similar. I mean, granted, crisis actors are real. I'm not saying crisis actors aren't real, but I'm saying in certain circumstances, there were some of them that weren't the actual people, that it was actually just doppelgangers. But continue, go ahead.
Right. One of the things that definitely happened, I wouldn't say this is blatant evidence that proves this theory, more so of it definitely doesn't, it makes it very likely, is that as soon as this information got out, BlackRock immediately took down the advertisement video on their website.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's
to me,
I was gonna say. I mean, I don't know if it was on the website or whatever, but if they did take it down, that seems a little bit.
It was on.
Why would you take it down, bro?
Showed you when Michael Knowles showed it. It was on he literally went to the BlackRock website, lit up, and then all of a sudden, as soon as the conspiracy started going out that this guy was the BlackRock commercial, immediately BlackRock took the video down.
Yeah, so it says
you're not able to look up this video anymore.
It says it here. This came out. See, and that's what I love about the internet. That's like one of the good things about the internet, is that like as soon as something happens, dude, you have these rabbit hole deep divers that like go into all sorts of whatever the newest flavor is. You have people that just deep dive into it, and it says right here. It says Thomas Crooks, Bethel Park High School appeared as an unpaid student extra in a BlackRock advertisement last year. The ad featured a teacher from Bethel Park High School, so it's the same high school, so that alone right there, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not 100% that it's him, but if the ad feed, it's still, it's his.
It's not a smoking gun by any means, but it's still.
It's his high school while he was in high school. So,
to me, it's not a smoking gun that BlackRock was involved. It's more so of just, it's kind of like one of those things, man. BlackRock is, if you're going to get to the bottom of who runs this world, BlackRock is going to better be in the top conversains. You know what I'm saying? Because literally,
definitely, they're controlling. Yeah, they're controlling shareholders of most things that are on the exchange, and it's more than just the exchange, though. By the way, they handle the funds of entire. They handle the funds of entire countries and entire states. So they have a huge. Oh
my gosh, bro! Speaking of people that rule the world. have you heard of? I'm sure you've heard of Project 25, Project 2025.
No, I did. Well, hold on. First, before you go on about this, I want to make it really clear that there were hashtags that were going around saying BlackRock ad and whatever. So I'm sure that's probably a reason why they took it down, because it probably wasn't very good publicity for them. It's like, it doesn't necessarily, it's not incriminating. It probably is. A public relation guy was probably, a PR guy was probably like, hey, look, we gotta fucking take this down. Okay, this doesn't look very good. But anyway, continue on about 25.
Yeah, this is cool. We can honestly go back to this if want. This is more so of incredible news that I heard that literally made me absolutely jump for joy. So I've been hearing in the process of, this is another thing that I must have heard from every Democrat's mouth that I've heard in any congressional hearing in the last month. It doesn't matter what the hearing's about. If they're talking and it's a partisan conversation, it's not bipartisan, it's a partisan, to where, it's the Dems versus the Repubs. Every single one of them makes a mention to, and if you guys don't stop Project 2025, basically our world is going to be the next dictatorship, this, not, third, Trump's going to rule, blah, blah. And I kept hearing all these horrible policies, these people talking horrible about all this Project 2025. So I was like, I got to look this thing up. What is Project 2025? So there's a foundation that a guy, it's a conservative foundation, and the president of the foundation established a movement that he's calling Project 2025. Okay. And the movement isn't, and this is some of the reason why I looked it up was because I wanted to be able to know, just like I want to be able to know if, when those people consistently say, call an AR-15 an assault rifle, I want to know if they're telling the truth or if they're just lying, blowing smoke up our ass. So they kept talking about how these policies are going to change the country and blah, 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 this, that, and the third.
Did it say which policies that we were talking about? Which policies?
Yeah. So Project 2025 is nothing but a proposal of a series of policies, like a butt ton of policies. It's not like one thing. It's basically the concept of Project 2025 is an idea of conservative movements that the president of this foundation is trying to get a bunch of people to basically petition, not petition, but sign the petition or either join the petition to basically, it's a bunch of conservative policies that they want to.
You care if I talk about it really fast? Because I already have it pulled up. I already looked it up and everything.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes,
right,
please.
So Project 2025 is an initiative that was put forth by the Heritage Foundation, which is, as everybody knows, it's more conservative leaning of a think tank. And like he was saying, it's conservative initiatives. But this is the funny thing about the Heritage Foundation. So the Heritage Foundation was of the top two think tanks that were completely behind this military push in government policies, that were completely behind the push for the domestic terror threat, essentially militarizing the Department of Homeland Security and militarizing not just the Department of Homeland Security, but militarizing the Department of State against the domestic terror threat. They were the ones that the Heritage Foundation was actually the ones that were behind the repeal of the Smith-Mundt Act. And the Smith-Mundt Act was the only piece of legislation that banned state-sponsored propaganda, state-sponsored influence campaigns from being peddled on U.S. citizens. So it's very funny that the Heritage Foundation is super conservative, and they happen to be best buddies with the same people that they term domestic terrorists. So why is it that the same conservative think tank that is behind the domestic terror push is best buddies with the same people that they're classifying as domestic terrorists? And so at the same time, then you have Democrats that are completely against the Heritage Foundation, like you were saying, and Project 2025, but at the same time, they're completely behind the Heritage Foundation and the domestic terror push. So it's very weird. It's like, go ahead.
I will say this. It's not that I don't necessarily just back up Project 2025 because I haven't actually gotten a chance to 100% look at all the policies. Because like I said, it's not really more so of like any one specific thing, more so a series of policies. And the policies touch base on a lot of different topics, such as economy, ecosystem, religion, school systems, and stuff like that.
It says it here. I'm looking at it right here. It says
so far I started.
Let me tell you what it's about, because I have it right here. It says Section 1 is taking reins of the government. So it's essentially whatever, I don't exactly know what that means. The Executive Office, Presidents of the United States, and then Section 2 is the Common Defense, so Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, Department of State, Intelligence Community, media agencies, which is USAGM, which is like state-sponsored media. And then Section 3 is general welfare, so the Department of Agriculture, Department of Education, like you were saying, Department of Energy, the Department of Health and Human Services. So essentially, it's essentially just like revamping it. It says it's made by conservatives for conservatives, but it's essentially like a reforming of the entire government, the entire
specific
regulation.
Specifically, a lot of policies that the Biden specifically, its main goal is to aim to revert a majority of the policies that the Biden administration has put into place since they've been in.
I haven't read it. I haven't read it, but it literally, like it's the entire federal government, the Federal Election Commission, the Federal Communications. Dude, it literally talks.
So check this out, bro. Check this out. Some of the policies. So, like I said, I haven't read all the nitty details of every policy, but I know looking at some of the policies as a blank slate, to me, I can get behind a lot of them. Like, so for example, when you look up the policies, one of the first policies that it talks about is the census citizen question, which has been a big stir in Congress in the past couple of years. So all it seeks to do, this policy, the only thing that this policy does is seek to put one extra question on the U.S. Census, okay? When you get to U.S. Census, the goal of the census is to determine how many persons are in each state, so they can properly ordain that many congressmen as representatives, because the Constitution determines that each state gets X amount of representatives depending on how many people are in that state.
What's the question? What's the question?
So the question is simply, are you a citizen or not? And the Democrats have completely shut the whole idea down. They're like, no, this question asking if you're a citizen is racist.
Well, hold on,
bigotry.
Hold on. That's not the entire point of Project 2025, though. This is just one.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just going over.
Got you.
I'm going over a few policies that I know specifically that I can get behind. And to me, when on the census question, when asking, "Are you a citizen?" I think that's 100% acceptable. And their argument on why it's unconstitutional. So a couple of years ago, I think it was in like 2000, if I'm correct, it was in like 2020 or something like that. But basically, Congress brought the Republican group, the Republican congressmen brought to the U.S. Supreme Court the question if they could add this simple question, are you a citizen or not, to the census, and the Supreme Court declined it, saying it was unconstitutional, because in the Constitution, the question states that the 14th Amendment says that
there's
congressional appointment.
There's constitutional precedent. I understand. Let's not focus on that, because I agree on it. I agree on it, but I think that kind of takes away from the whole scope of this Project 2025, man, because it's huge. No, it's huge.
Honestly, Gary, I'm just trying to. It is, but in order for one to go through it, and this is my whole point, is that just like me, I was hearing people address Project 2025 as if it's a whole entity. Okay. And yes, as though Project 2025 is a whole entity, it is really just a series of policies that they would like to instill.
Well,
and the thing about it is that if Congress was to bring Project 2025 to the Supreme Court, it's not like if it's either you vote yes for all of Project 2025 or no for the whole thing. It's, one policy, for example, this specific policy.
Yeah, no, I'm aware. This isn't like a law. This is just like basically a think tank that came up with this proposal.
I'm just going over.
I get it. No, I get it. But basically what I was going to say is that we got to be really careful whenever one thing gets brought up, because here's what happens with legislation. They'll take one hot button issue and they'll say, okay, this bill is so good because of this reason, but little do we know is that underneath it is 500 pages of some other stuff. I forget what the exact term of it is called, but it's just a way to be able to slide legislation through. So that's why I didn't want to focus too much on one issue and be like, well, I can get behind some aspects because of this, because at the end of the day, dude, this literally covers every single federal department. And it's not just, well, hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. It's not just changing policies from Biden's administration. This is the entire whole of government. It's decade. All right. So the Department of Commerce, I just opened up this random Department of Commerce section. Okay. And it says that, hold on. I know you're getting excited, Gary, but listen, man, can I say something real fast, especially for the purpose of the podcast here?
It says decades.
Hold on, dude. It says decades of regulatory capture.
Okay,
so
I
just wanted to make that clear that this isn't a partisan, like a hyper, like this is just solely going against the Biden. It says decades. These are policy changes that are changing decades of regulation or things like that. So anyway, continue.
One of my goals in talking about Project 2025 in the first place was there's a lot of misconception on the internet. Like when you hear people talk about Project 2025, from what I've heard, nobody talks about specific policies. They talk about Project 2025 as a whole. And a lot of all liberals, okay, I've not heard one liberal source say anything positive about Project 2025. It's all, negative this, negative that. It's racist, it's bigotry, it's dictatorship, right? And the whole reason why I wanted to start was so when I have a conversation with someone and they're sitting there saying, Project 25 is gonna make America horrible. I'm like, okay, well let's talk about it one policy at a time. How is asking if you're a U.S. citizen going to destroy this country? If anything, I don't think it is. So that's my point. And I feel like when people, if someone was to watch this podcast, hopefully hear us explain and go through some of the policies in detail. I first of all, it's going to be a breath of fresh air because, like I said, I haven't heard another source actually go into detail on what the specific policies are.
You're actually absolutely right too, man. Because it would be really nice if there was something that, and don't get me wrong, just because I feel how I do about the Heritage Foundation, and a lot of my research dives into terror, counter-terror operations, counter-operations, the ethical concerns, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't mean that I'm all of a sudden against 2025, Project 2025, simply because it's the Heritage Foundation, because there's probably a lot of really good people on the team that are really trying to make a difference in the country. So it really would be nice to see political bipartisanship, you know what I'm saying, to where people can kind of come together. And dude, the biggest and this is why I hate talking about immigration to anybody, especially because immigration, through case studies and through like polling, has been found immigration is the most hot button issue, and it has been for a long time. Same thing with abortion, and same thing with gender identity. These things are,
and this Project 25 tackles all of these.
And it's nearly impossible to have these issues. It is impossible to have bipartisan agreement on. So that's why whenever we talk about things, I feel like, or not we, obviously we agree on most things, but it's like when people on the left and people on the right talk about it, I just wish they would avoid those, because then it destroys any art. Like they can't even have like a constructive conversation afterwards because they're so mad at each other about abortion or immigration. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I feel you. And honestly, one of the things that frustrate me the most as an American citizen, and I believe most importantly, a father, okay, one of the things that has gotten me into politics in the first place was hearing two different sides paint a complete different picture of one thing. Okay, like I get it, you know, like art, for example. Two different people can look at a painting and get a different emotion from it. That's 100% acceptable. But there's only that only goes so far. There's, you know, if we're looking at a picture of, you know, say for example, Picasso did a picture of a bull, a guy riding on a bull, but the way he did it, you know, you don't know if the guy's looking forward or if he's looking backwards, or maybe he has something in his hand, or maybe he's sad or happy. Yeah. But regardless, like if someone was to come in here and spin the idea that, oh, this isn't a guy riding a bull, this is actually a jet plane with you know what I'm saying, carrying a bunch of ants. Like, yeah. Okay, it only gets to a certain point where it's like, yeah, I can't get behind that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So constantly hearing such blatant contradictions, it spurred me to start. It goes back to the whole saying: vote for your policies. Vote for the policies that you want, not for popularity. Okay, and that's kind of what I'm doing here with Project 25. Is I'm not, you know, because I can guarantee you, when it comes down to voting time, and they're trying to, Congress is trying to pass some of these policies that are in Project 2025. I can almost guarantee you, without thorough research, every Republican is going to vote yes for every policy, and every Democrat is going to vote no for every policy. And that's what makes me frustrated, is because when you actually start reading the policies, maybe you don't have to agree with all of them. Maybe you don't have to vote yes for every single policy. Maybe there's one on there that you just don't agree with, and that's fine. Vote no on that one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's my whole point, is that I would really like to clear the air for some of these policies, because, you know, one of the big ones is, and this was made me really want to research the policies, is because one of the most common things that I hear the Democrats say about Project 2025 is that if Project 2025 enacts that there's going to be a separation of church and state, and that the American government is going to force you to be a Christian, and this, that, and the third. And I was like, I don't like that. So I looked it up, and it's just like I presumed. It's complete bullshit. So there is a section in Project 2025 called Christian nationalism. Okay. And
is there really a section in
there is. I'm trying to find it right now. As a Christian, I actually agree with this policy. And specifically, what it does is basically it looks to recognize that the nation of the United States of America as a whole is in fact a Christian nation on Christian values. And specifically, it does not want a separation of, it does not aim to change the separation of church and state, more so of just state that as an organism, as the United States of America, its core values are that of Christian. That doesn't mean as a U.S. citizen that by law you have to believe in Christianity. It just states that as a government, like it said from the very beginning, in God we trust, you know what I'm saying? Just like it says in the Pledge of Allegiance, under you know, one nation, indivisible, under God. Like, we are, from the very beginning, have always been a Christian nation, and that's all it aims to do in moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
No, and moving forward, if that basically voting yes on that would be voting yes for any policy that the United States government would want to put forward.
So how I feel about this, topic specifically, is how I feel about the abortion issue, is that the government should have never been a Supreme Court issue. It should have never made it that far. So whereby, since it did, it then became a national issue rather than it just kind of, you know what I mean? And I think it's the exact same thing. As soon as you have the courts and you have legislation weighing in on something that really isn't their place, it then becomes the issue you're trying to avoid. You know what I'm saying? So right now, I don't think it's an issue at all. I think that there is there's an obvious separation of church and state. You know what I'm saying? But I think
there's no law that says you have to be a Christian.
Yeah, there's no law that says that, but I just think that it might be. I can see where we could run into trouble with trying to legislate something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because we already have legislation in place. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can have their own religion. Everybody can do what they want to do. We still say one nation under God. We still have, have that on our dollar bill. You know what I'm saying? It's still like we still have that, but I think.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, is that specifically since the Biden administration has come, man, they're trying to change that, bro.
Well,
they already, for example, on the corner, they already got George Washington turning his back on "In God We Trust," man. That's the first thing. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I would say that it's the same thing that happens whenever people try to get rid of Christmas. Because, we got Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all this stuff too. It's like, yeah, obviously we live in a total nation, but they're not getting away with Christmas. It's the same type thing where they think people are fear mongering to think, oh, they're getting away from Christianity. We need to legislate religion. And I just don't think that they're really I don't know. I think it's the same thing with Christmas. You know what I'm saying? But that's the cool thing, is that we can always disagree on it. Project 2025 is definitely something interesting. I would like to check into a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how much time you got left. I feel like you were trying to wrap it up earlier, but the whole thing that brought up Project 2025 in the first place was this. If you look at the economic policies, bro, one of the policies that it's trying to do, and I can get back behind this 100%, is it is trying to completely disband the IRS.
That's interesting.
I am totally for that, bro. I did see some economic policy. Well, no, man, I wouldn't say disband. That seems a little bit ridiculous, man. I'm sorry. My bad. Not the IRS, the Federal Reserve. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to disband the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, honestly, we should have. Well, hold on, because this could be a good thing or a bad thing. Obviously, we shouldn't even. We should have never privatized our banking system to begin with. First of all. But second of all, if we do that, what's the alternative now that we have so much debt? You know what I'm saying? Right now it's just on paper. If we get rid of the Federal Reserve, does that debt turn into, you know what I'm saying? Do we have to start?
Bro, the whole Federal,
you know what I'm saying? We already pay on the debt, but.
Bro, the very fact that the Federal Reserve has the name federal in front of it is a complete fox.
Well, dude,
it's not part of our government at all.
Yeah, look, trust me. Essentially, it's the central banks that are essentially just writing debt to the United States.
Nobody agrees with me.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I fully agree with you. Like, it's essentially
Did you say nobody disagrees with me? It's not like you said nobody agrees with me.
No. I fully agree with you, man. No, I completely agree with you. Like, I really think that it's one of those things. But now that we're so far into this debt, like, what is it? Like, it would have been different if this law would have been passed like a year after the Federal Reserve was started. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, no harm, no foul. We tried it. Okay. But now that we're all these years into it, what happens if we just disband? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are the implications of this? I like the idea. Like, it sounds good on paper, but how does that look? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that look? One thing I do like about this Project 2025 that I did just start reading is that it talks about economic policies and bringing jobs back, like manufacturing back to the U.S., which I really think is a really good thing too. From what I read, it targets to disband some of the green policies that the Biden administration, like, for example, the Biden administration seeks to make America 100% EV, electric vehicle, by 2035. That's like, forget about it. Like, that's not plausible. You know what I'm saying? The infrastructure's not there, man. That date's just not even realistic. Like, I get it. It's kind of like the same thing when you're like, hey guys, we're gonna open up this new business tomorrow. It's like you're not really gonna be able to do this tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like you set the bar high. But dude, it's kind of a fucked up thing. What I'm hoping that this Project 2025 isn't is I'm hoping it's not just something like a virtue signaling kind of thing to where now anything that's labeled Project 2025, everybody's going to get behind just because it has this feel good like presentation, you know what I'm saying? So then they can just pass whatever they want and everybody will get behind it because it's Project 2025. You know what I'm saying?
Down the wrong road here. Yeah.
I'm hoping that that's not what it's going to be. Like, oh, this is a Project 2025 bill. It's got to be good. And then people are just willing to get behind it for no reason. You know what I'm saying? All right, so yeah, I guess let's wrap it up from here. We still don't even have a name for the podcast. I guess we're gonna have to maybe figure that out on episode 2. So right now, I'll figure out something for the intro or for the title. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. So we don't even have names for ourselves. We don't really have anything. We don't even have a way to be able to wrap this up. But I guess we'll just wrap it up and say thanks for tuning in.
I'll say this because this is kind of how I think we should wrap it up. I say that wrap it by kind of concluding what we were talking about, and then I would honestly maybe summarize, give a pre. Would like to talk.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. Can you hear me? Yo, I can't hear you.
I'd like to talk. Oh man, you can't hear me at all?
No, it's probably because of where you're. It's probably because of where you're at.
Okay, I was about to say because honestly, man, one thing I would like to do is for sure next episode, go in a little bit more into a little bit more details of Project 2025. I think that would be cool, at least in a little bit. Man, I can't figure out how to get through here. Saying there's supposed to be a road here, but I can't find a road that connects me to.
Yeah, dude, that's because of where you're at, bro. You're off in the cut, man. It's all right, man.
I know, but I'm looking at my.
We'll touch on Project 2025 a little bit next time and whatever. I guess it's just topical. I don't really know. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to be like, tune in next time because you know what I'm saying? We could start talking next time and never even talk about it. People are going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we're still rough around the edges. We got a lot to work on. We don't know any, we're kind of just winging it right now. We don't have any structure or formalities.
All right, well, thanks for joining, guys, and tune in next time. We don't really have a schedule, so if you catch us, then you catch us. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Take it easy.